What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3. Chapter 61. The Straw Hats tremble. Vice Admirals are shocked. He is seeking First Order. Advertisement. Dilapidated Tower of Justice. Usopp, what the hell is going on now? Is the Mary really here? Green Algae Head Pirate Hunter Zoro asked, shock and disbelief written all over his face. It's coming. It's really coming. Usopp was still weeping. By the way, don't just look at Mei Lee. Where's Miss Robin? How's Miss Robin going? Blackfoot Sanji spoke anxiously. Hearing Sanji's reminder, Usopp finally woke up. When he last looked at Robin earlier, Spandam has basically brought Robin closer to the gate. But now I don't know what's going on. Usopp's gaze hastily returned to the bridge of hesitation. Wait to see what happens on the bridge. Usopp froze suddenly. The eyes were bulging, and the eyeballs almost broke through the looking glass in shock. Usopp, what do you see? Zoro asked. Could it be that something happened to Miss Robin? Sanji was in a hurry. No. Usopp hastily waved his hand in denial. Robins, that's amazing. He can't even hit a bullet, that person is really amazing. Usopp screamed in shock. Hearing that, Sanji and Zoro below were both confused and secretly anxious. The bullet won't move. Could it be that the man in underwear has arrived? Sanji guessed. Naturally, I thought it was Iron Man Frankie who arrived in time. If that's the case, Usopp, send the key over. Zoro urged. Wow. The shocking strange cry of the Sniper King Usopp reappeared. The key is no longer needed. What did you say? Both Sanji and Zoro were puzzled. Because Robin is free now. Usopp screamed excitedly, bewildered. Miss Robin is free. Sanji was full of joy. Have the Seastone handcuffs been opened? 29. What the hell is going on? Usopp, what the hell did you see? Zoro scratched his head anxiously. I can't wait to fly to the top of the tower on the spot, grab Usopp's lookout glass, and see what's going on. Call. Usopp took a deep breath, calming the turmoil in his heart. Sanji, Zoro, Robin's Seastone handcuffs don't open with keys. The handcuffs were crushed by that man with bare hands. Usopp yelled, telling the shocking truth. After a moment of silence. Nani, what did you say? The tacit understanding between Sanji and Zoro broke down. Those are Seastone handcuffs. They broke with bare hands. Hey, are you kidding? When did that Frankie have such power? Sean Suo yelled and questioned at the same time. I never said the guy next to Robin was Frankie. That man, he must be the rescuer brought by the melee for us. Usopp said firmly. Hey. Bang. The sound of artillery fire suddenly continued. The door of justice is unknown. It is fully open for the first time in 800 years. The connection of the ocean currents caused the original two natural dangers of Enies Lobby, Uzumaki, to be filled and no longer exist. About several hundred meters away on the surface of the sea, 10 Buster Call warships from naval headquarters came side by side. 5 naval headquarters elite vice admiral, headed by Doberman, Flying Squirrel, Huo Shaoshan, Ghost Spider, and Stallo Berry, stood on the bow of the warship with majesty. Except for the 5 powerful elite vice admiral of this department. Each warship is also equipped with 10 rear admirals and nearly 10,000 naval headquarters elites. The gathering of such a huge combat power is no less than a war. This is Marine Buster Call. Just wait to see the Buster Call sailing out of the Gate of Justice. Robin's pretty face turned pale in an instant. The joy of beating Spandam is no more. Instead, there was only deep horror and fear. Boom. Bang. The shells were as dense as raindrops, falling on the entire island of Enies Lobby, and the entire island was riddled with holes. Even the Ani Ace Hall, one of the 3 government agencies, is determined not to be spared. Even on this island there are still many marine soldiers. Advertisement. The shelling will not be the slightest mercy because of this. This is absolutely obliterating Buster Call. Under relentless Buster Call fire. The entire Enies Lobby was shaken. It seems that it may overturn and collapse at any time. Bridge of hesitation. The series of slaps stopped suddenly. Buster Call is coming. Looking at the shells falling like raindrops, Robin's eyes were dull. Her delicate body trembled uncontrollably, and there was a trill in her voice. Her soul seemed to be dreaming back to 20 years ago, with Ohara burning in front of her eyes. What? Robin yelled, squatting on the ground in fear, covering his head with his hands, trembling. Don't vomit. The Spandam, which lost its flower fruit ability, fell to the ground. A face was deformed by Robin's serial slaps. Blood gushes from between the mouth and nose. Unprecedented pain stimulated his spirit. But at this moment, there was a trace of complacency on his deformed face. Because Buster Call is coming. In the end, he won the battle. No one can beat Buster Call. Nico Robin and you bloody B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************� I'm going to make life worse than death for all of you. Spandam glared and drank triumphantly. I still don't have a clear understanding of my current situation. 10,000 steps back, even if Marine's Buster Call can really save him. But at least for now. If Chiu and the others wanted to kill him, it would definitely not be more difficult than trampling an ant to death. The harsh words just came out. Spandam also reacted. watching the figure approaching with hot and oppressive force like the sun. Spandam couldn't help feeling infinite panic and fear. His reinforcements are still on the way, and it will take at least a few minutes to rush over. And Chiu, who crushed the sea stone with one hand, was beside him. If you want to crush his head, it will definitely not be more difficult than crushing tofu. No. You don't come here. Spandam was weeping and writhing backwards like a maggot, trying to escape. At this moment, he was full of regrets. If you didn't say those provocative words before, it would be great to just continue pretending to be dead. It's just that there is no regret medicine in the world. Who the hell are you? Please, spare me, Marine. Buster Call has come. Aren't you going to escape? If you slow down, you won't be able to leave. Spandam begged for mercy loudly. However, the tall figure that was as hot as the sun and as dazzling as the sun still walked in front of him. The heat wave hits. Spandam was in agony between breaths. It felt as if all the internal organs were about to be burned by the flames. Who do you think I am? A mere Buster Call, what can I do? Chiu spoke arrogantly. He reached out with a large hand and wrapped it around Spandam's neck. A series of meaningless syllables came out of Spandam's mouth, but he couldn't say another word. Because of the moment of being held by Chiu's big hand. His vocal tract was already scorched by the scorching sun's fire. Living is just a waste of food, a waste of air, and a waste of people's sight. Disappear. Chiu spoke calmly. The voice fell. The expression of horror on Spandam's face froze. Chiu's raised right hand shook lightly. There was only a thud. Spandam's body turned into an arrow from the string. It fell straight down on one of the Buster Call warships hundreds of meters away. The shelling continues. The Marine commander on the warship waved a flag to indicate the next round of shell filling. At this time, Doberman Vice Admiral, something fell from the sky. A watchman reported anxiously, just when Hai Bing's voice fell. That thing from the sky fell on the deck of the warship. Smashed a hole in the solid deck. This person is Commander CP9, Spandam. What a serious injury. Who beat him like this? A Marine military doctor rushed forward to treat him. Wait. Advertisement. Everyone disperse. Marine Elite Vice Admiral Doberman gave an order. His observation Hawkeye captures that looming danger. As predicted, just as the sailors retreated in response. Falling between the decks, the inhuman Spandam's body suddenly lit up with a dazzling light. That was the power of the sun that Chiu had instilled into his body earlier. The body of Spandam, which stores a large amount of solar energy, is a terrifying time bomb. When the sun's rays gather a little, a terrifying explosion ensues. Rumble. Marine War Class Buster Call warship shock. The overwhelmed clicking sound accompanied by the terrified screams of the sailors can be heard endlessly. Just a tiny body bomb. It almost blew up a hundreds of meters class Buster Call warship. Doberman. What the hell happened? Are you guys okay? What the hell happened before? Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel, Ghost Spider and Sabaody, the four elite Vice Admiral stepped on the moonwalk for the first time and gathered on the nearly sunken warship. Fine. Vice Admiral Doubtman scowled. Fortunately, his previous order was issued in time enough. The execution of the orders of the sailors is also fast enough. Everyone is far away from the center of the explosion. The damage was unavoidable, but at least there have been no casualties. It's just that the silence of this warship is a matter of time. Doberman, what the hell was that shell? It has such a huge power. The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel screams in disbelief. No. Doberman shook his head. Not a cannonball. It was a Spandam that landed on my ship earlier. What did you say? Spandam? Could it be the one from CP9? A long head with a head length of 1 meter Vice Admiral Sabaody big. Call. CP9 Spandam. Exploded. 007. This kind of thing. Huo Shaoshan had an absurd expression on his face. Hey, now is not the time to care about these things. Look over there. The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider's eyes fell on the bridge of hesitation in the distance, and the expression on his face gradually became solemn. The previous Spandam bomb came from that bridge. Reminded by the Ghost Spider, the other four Marine Elite Vice Admiral also cast their sights on the bridge one after another. At the same time, their respective powerful observation Hawkeye spread out. Help them capture the situation on that bridge more clearly. They see Nico Robin, the Devil's Son who was the target of the mission. I also saw the tall figure with its back facing them and the sun's rays shining all over its body. Who the hell is that man? Vice Admiral Sabaody yelled in horror. When his observation Hawkeye landed on the tall sun-like figure. An indescribable terrifying pressure followed, causing him to feel great panic both mentally and physically. There was infinite fear in my heart for no reason, as if I was facing some kind of supreme existence. That's not all. Next second, his spirit connected to observation Hawkeye seemed to be burning with fire. Even the experienced Vice Admiral screamed in pain. Not just Sabaody, Doberman, Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel and Ghost Spider are not much better. Their spirit and knowledge have also suffered burns to varying degrees. Damn it, what the hell is going on here? The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider gritted its teeth unwillingly. Hey, no way. That man, could it be? Squinting his eyes, Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan seemed to have thought of something. His perennially squinted eyes suddenly opened wide. The smile on his face is no longer there. Instead, there was a deep sense of horror and disbelief. How is this possible? But, it's not impossible. Why did that man appear here? The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel also reacted. I thought of the report on the ability of a certain man that I had seen. What's the time now? Vice Admiral Doberman stopped drinking. Yes, yes. Doberman Vice Admiral, it's 5 minutes until 12 noon. A sailor replied tremblingly. What did you say? What a worst time ever. The whole army is on alert. The man who can compete for the world's strongest. Red Hair Pirates Deputy Captain Arrogant Chiu. Go to full fire. Advertisement Chapter 62. Overlord Majesty, 80,000 people in seconds. A blow to the sky. Open black lens bracket 5th watch for first order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. You should still be able to stand up, little girl. After dropping the spandam bomb, Chiu came to Robin who was trembling with his head in his arms. The tall body that brings an infinite sense of oppression to others. What brings Robin now is an infinite sense of peace of mind. The fear and panic in her heart quickly subsided for no reason. She nodded slightly. A pretty face with a lovely color. It's just a buster call, nothing to be afraid of at all. Chiu smiled gently at Robin, exuding strong confidence all over her body. Between the words, hockey and arrogance are fully displayed. The restlessness and fear in Robin's heart completely dissipated. She wasn't as desperate as she usually is to introduce others to the horrors of buster call. Because her intuition told herself, if it's this man, maybe he can really stand against Marine buster call. My lord, who are you? The irrepressible strong curiosity in his heart drove Robin to ask questions. My name is Chiu. Chiu replied. Robin froze. Chiu turned around. Bang 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 bang. The sea hundreds of meters away. The 9 buster call warships fired in unison under the orders of the vice admirals. The shells were as dense as rain, covering the entire sky. The terrifying artillery fire was enough to blow up and sink the bridge of hesitation in an instant. Even if they already know that they are facing a man who is competing for the world's strongest throne. The 5 elite naval headquarters vice admirals still haven't flinched. Because they are performing the buster call task now. There is no retreat to speak of. Arrogant B*****************, D, let me sink with the bridge. The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider roared angrily. So what if it's the Emperor of the Sea? We now have 100,000 buster call troops. Long-headed Vice Admiral Staloberry looked hideous. Although I don't know why you are here as a member of the Red Hair Pirates. But now I can only ask you to die. Vice Admiral Doberman's cold opening. That man, moved. Elite Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan narrowed his eyes once again. What exactly is going on? The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel then let out a loud cry. There was a ghostly expression on his resolute face. The cannonballs all over the sky fell with the roar of the Marines. At the same time, Chiu, who had comforted Robin, turned around and faced the rain of thousands of shells. There was not the slightest expression fluctuation on the sharp-edged face. Clang. There was a soft sound. Chiu's famous sword Griffin was out of its sheath for half an inch. Same time, a domineering aura that would subdue even the heavens and the earth centered on Chiu, suddenly spreading and spreading. In an instant, the entire sea was covered. This moment. Heaven and earth are in peace. Advertisement. The clouds of the sky solidified. The waves of the sea gradually calmed down. Thousands of shells in midair also abruptly stopped in midair. Can't move forward or fall any further. This is exactly the majesty from Tyrant. This is exactly the aura of a man who is qualified to compete for the throne of the strongest. This is exactly the hockey of the uncrowned king of the new world. Boom. Midair. The solidified cannonball exploded one. Snapped. A sailor on the warship fell unconscious without warning. Bang 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 bang. The sky was full of gunfire, and bright fireworks bloomed one after another. Clap 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 clap. On the buster call warship, the sailors rolled their eyes one after another, as if a domino effect had occurred. Wait until all the cannonballs in the sky explode. The black smoke and dust dispersed with the wind. Heaven and earth returned to Kingming. On the deck of 10 marine buster call warships, the sailors who were upside down cheered into pieces. Under the previous Chiu's Conqueror's impact, at least 80% of the sailors in the headquarters fell. The confrontation has not yet officially started. 80,000 out of 100,000 people lost their combat power and fell unconscious. What a terrifying picture this is. Simply unheard of. This moment, the 10 buster call warships have fallen into unprecedented chaos. Even the majestic vice admirals were unable to control the overall situation and end this chaotic situation for a while. Damn it. Previously it was Conquerors. Hockey. But, that arrogant D's Conquerors has grown to this level. It's completely inconsistent with the information from 4 years ago. Could it be that he has become stronger again? The vice admirals all looked ferocious and unwilling. In front of the overlord of the new world, numbers are meaningless. Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan whispered in shock. So, what do we do next? Should I report to Marshal Sengoku and apply for a temporary retreat? Vice Admiral's Flying Squirrel was reluctant to quit. How is it possible to retreat? This is a buster call mission that must be obliterated. If we are scared off by a mere man like this, where will our Marine's face go? Vice Admiral Doberman and Vice Admiral Ghost Spider both glared. Hey, look, what is that arrogant man going to do again? Long-headed Vice Admiral Staloberry screamed. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. suddenly turned around. But Chiu was standing on the edge of the bridge of hesitation. The famous sword griffin on his waist was completely unsheathed. A mere 10 warships and 5 vice admirals are trying to capture me. There is a limit to being overconfident, Marine. Chiu grinned. The sound was like thunder, exploding the entire sky. It is clearly audible to everyone in the entire Enies Lobby waters. Advertisement. This voice is so strong. Who the hell? The Straw Hat Kid who fought against Lucci in Warehouse No. 1, Nami Chopper in the underground passage, and others all subconsciously sighed in shock. If you want to fight on an equal footing with me, you need at least 2 admirals. Chiu's thunderous arrogant words resounded through the entire sky again. 2 admirals. What a big breath. Rob Lucci, who was fighting the Straw Hat Kid, gave a cold snort of disdain. Although I don't know who the other party is, I dare to say such arrogant words. In Rob Lucci's view, it is too arrogant. However, knowing Chiu's identity and strength, and the vice admirals in this special time period, they will not refute Chiu in any way. Because they knew that Chiu at 12 o'clock noon did have the qualifications to be the strongest. Similarly, he does have the ability to challenge 2 admiral-level powerhouses at the same time. Damn, how can you let that arrogant guy keep doing whatever he wants? Under the oppression of Chiu's aura, the irritable Vice Admiral Ghost Spider did not bow his head, but rose violently. The soles of his feet suddenly landed on the deck, and his figure suddenly soared into the sky. Step on the moonwalk to approach Chiu on the bridge of hesitation. Ghost Spider, seeing that there is no way to stop the companion. The 4 Vice Admirals, Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel, Doberman, and Staloberry, all stepped on the moonwalk and soared into the sky. 5 Naval Headquarters Vice Admirals attacked like crane wings. When it was only about 100 meters away from the bridge of hesitation. The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider, who has the strength of a superior swordsman, stopped drinking and drew his sword. At the same time, Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel, Doberman and Staloberry also drew their swords out of their sheaths. 5 powerful swordsmen attacked together. The 5 slashes that were enough to cut through the bridge of hesitation converged towards one point. The center point to be hit is naturally Chiu. A mere 5 vice admirals also want to challenge the emperor who rules the sea. You are brave, but you are also stupid. Chiu stood proudly. The little dagger griffin between the right hands is shining with dazzling Getjout light. Facing the 5 vice admirals with the iron slashing sword energy that can pierce gold and crack rocks. Chiu also made a knife. Only one knife. Boom. The flying slashes of the 5 sword masters, vice admiral, are like mirrors. The moment it came into contact with Chiu's sword energy, it suddenly shattered. Even the slightest delay and weakening are impossible. The terrifying sword energy that spread for hundreds of meters rushed forward. The 5 vice admirals including Huo Shaoshan and Flying Squirrel all looked terrified. Hastily stepped on the moonwalk or descended or ascended to dodge. However, the next second, something unexpected happened. The flying slashing sword aura emanating from Chiu's blade did not fly into the sky as people expected. Some moment, the bright sword energy suddenly stopped in midair. A light that is even more dazzling than the sun blooms, causing the people looking up to close their eyes unconsciously. Cannot be seen. You can still hear it. Caw caw caw. It sounded like something was breaking apart. The 5 vice admirals and more marine powerhouses forced their eyes open. Then I saw a scene that I will never forget even in my life. That's the sky breaking apart. Advertisement Chapter 63 Unexpected Visitor. Admiral Aokiji. Ice Age. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Every day, the sky is cracked. Caw caw caw. The sky made an overwhelmed crackling sound at this moment. Gives the effect of a shattered mirror. It was caused by the double shock force hidden under the sword energy. Under the blessing of the power of the sun at noon. The power of vibration picked up from Whitebeard has also reached its peak. Once, Chiu used it to smash an island into pieces. Now, this shaking force, not inferior to that of Whitebeard himself, shattered the sky. And that's just the beginning. The sky, shattered. What a terrifying power this is. That man shattered the sky. Witness the horror of the sky shattering like a mirror. The sailors who were still standing on the 10 Marine Buster Call warships all lost their voices in shock. Even the powerful 5 Naval Headquarters elite vice admirals are no exception. Can anyone tell me what's going on here? The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel screamed. Why did the arrogant B***************** D's slash have such an effect? This kind of thing is simply unheard of. Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan is full of absurdity. Wrong. That's definitely not just a simple slash. The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider said firmly. That's right. I seem to have seen this phenomenon somewhere before. Vice Admiral Doberman frowned. After a while, he seemed to think of something. Extreme shock and disbelief appeared on the face with intertwined scars. How is it possible? How could this man have the power of that monster old man? Doberman screamed. Caw caw caw, just when the 5 elite Vice Admiral were immersed in the shock and couldn't extricate themselves. The crack in the sky suddenly extended. Both Vice Admiral Ghost Spider and Vice Admiral Staloberry, who were on the broken node, spat out a mouthful of blood unconsciously as if they had been hit hard. Quickly retreat. Stay away. That man's attack is not over yet. Huo Shaoshan's complexion suddenly changed. Together with Doberman, they retreated in embarrassment while supporting the Ghost Spider who was unfortunately affected. The rift in the sky continues to expand. Finally touches the sea. Then, the calm sea suddenly set off a stormy sea. Sea quakes caused by air quakes. Finally, a huge tsunami was formed. That's Whitebeard's first hand at summit war. Now triggered by Chiu. Rumble. The sea trembled violently. The waves kept rising. It was only a short time before and after. A 100-meter wave has formed. The sailors aboard the 10 Buster Call ships were in utter panic. At the same time, the location of the Tower of Justice. What the hell is that? The cigarette in Hitsu Sanji's mouth unconsciously fell to the ground, splashing a little spark. This is that person too. It was caused by the person Meili brought. On the top of the Judiciary Tower, Usopp danced excitedly and shouted again and again. The previous, could it be sword energy? Zoro gritted his teeth tightly, and subconsciously landed the 3 swords on his waist with his right hand. Is that the power of a great swordsman who has reached the pinnacle of swordsmanship? What I saw in Hawkeye last time was just the tip of the iceberg. The power of a single blade can shatter the sky and cause a tsunami. This is the real power of a great swordsman. Zoro murmured in shock. A series of crazy brain supplements flashed unconsciously in my mind. What happened over the bridge of hesitation? Why is the sky shattering? Why are there tsunamis? Warehouse number 1, CP9 Rob Lucci, the strongest player in the past 800 years, was completely shocked. Is this all done by the man who spoke earlier? Before that, he only thought it was Chiyu's arrogance and arrogance talking to himself. After cleaning up the Straw Hat Boys here, he will go over there to take a good look. Advertisement. Education by the way. But now, Lucci no longer underestimated or disdained the slightest bit. If this series of changes in the world was really caused by that man, then even if it is 10, he is not enough CJDJ to watch. Lucci put away his previous bold ideas. The Straw Hat Boy who decided to clean up here is to call it a day and get off work. At this time, second gear, rubber jet pistol. Lucci, who was distracted during the battle, ate a big straw hat Luffy without any defense. He vomited blood and flew backwards on the spot. Hateful. Straw Hat. Lucci was furious. The fight continues. Wow, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. On Enies Lobby Majima, 2 titans were carrying a king bullfish each, and Saw Yazzie ran towards the main entrance. On the back of the king cowfish, the younger brother of the Frankie family and Barry, the shipbuilder of the Carrera Company, and others, at this moment, are all terrified ghosts. It's fine if the sky is shattered. Tsunami is happening now. I'm really going to die this time. If that tsunami hits, we'll be doomed with this island before Buster Call. Idiot, calm down. Look clearly, the direction of the tsunami. That's not coming our way. It seems to be true. Brother Frankie seems to be still there. Is it really all right? It must be fine. We'd better retreat now. Amidst the shock and amazement of Buster Call Marine, Enies Lobby Station Marine and government personnel, the Frankie family, Carrera shipmaster and Straw Hat crew. The 100-meter tsunami caused by the air shock hit 10 Buster Call warships head-on. You can imagine being hit head-on by such a terrifying tsunami wave. Even Marine's highest-level war-class warships may not be able to withstand it. This is a real force of disaster. Even if Chiu wants to terminate it now, it is impossible. However, the situation on the battlefield is always changing rapidly. Without warning, an extremely cold air drifted across the sea. The temperature in the air at noon immediately dropped by tens of degrees. Ice Age. A lazy voice came from the distant sea. At the same time, there is also the absolute freezing power that freezes everything. The terrifying huge wave and tsunami stopped abruptly when there was only the last 10 meters away from the Buster Call warships. The flowing sea is no more. What appeared instead was a gigantic ice sheet. Not just tsunami waves. The absolute freezing power of the extreme cold freezes the sea in a radius of 1 kilometer without any difference. The sun shone down, and the ice was shining brightly. Now, the audience was silent. I don't know how long it has been. This terrifying freezing ability, could it be Admiral Aokiji? On the bridge of hesitation, Robin's delicate body trembled, and he yelled unconsciously, breaking the silence here. Looking at the frozen sea for a moment, the name and figure of the terrifying frozen Admiral Aokiji Kuzan first came to Robin's mind. After all, it was the nightmare that had been haunting her since the Ohara incident 20 years ago. The encounter on the uninhabited island not long ago completely detonated this fear. At this moment, when I learned that Admiral Aokiji appeared, Robin's tender body instinctively produced horror and fear. However, the next second, a warm breath like the sun suddenly enveloped him. Robin nodded slightly, looking at the tall figure in front of him. Look at the sun standing in front of you now. Somehow, the coldness and panic in her heart caused by Admiral Aokiji's appearance disappeared in an instant. Although I don't know the specific reason why, but the man in front of her is her son. Exclamation mark. How could Robin not know about this name? New World is the uncrowned emperor who is equal to the 4 emperors of the sea. Even qualified to participate in the competition for the title and throne of the world's strongest man. At this moment, Hyo uses Aokiji's freezing power. It is also impossible to make Robin's hands and feet as cold as before, and even his blood is frozen and coagulated. Because right now she has a warm sun that dispels all the severe cold and is shining. Thank you, win first. Robin took a deep breath and thanked him softly. Advertisement. The other side. Got saved. Looking at the ice cream ice cap, overhead. The sailors of the headquarters on the 10 Buster Call warships all collapsed on the deck as if they were exhausted. Thin cold sweat drenched their whole bodies. Those faces were full of fear and joy for the rest of their life after the catastrophe. Tsunami is frozen. This ability, as expected. There will be no one else. In this world, only one of the 3 highest combat powers of our marine has the ability to instantly freeze the sea. Admiral Aokiji Kuzan. Kuzan Admiral is here. Aokiji Admiral, our Admiral has arrived. Mr. Kuzan is here, he has been saved. Kuzan Admiral, jingle bell, shout out to, drive, out. Under the eager expectation and call of tens of thousands of sailors from the headquarters. Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji Kuzan, riding a bicycle, accompanied by crisp car bells, from far to near, finally appeared. Hoo, finally I'm willing to come out. The corner of Chiu's mouth curled up in a joyful arc, as if he already knew the existence of Admiral Aokiji. The appearance of Admiral Aokiji is unexpected, but reasonable. 20 years ago, because of Titan's best friend Saul, Kuzan felt compassion and let Robin go without authorization. 20 years after this, Kuzan has been secretly observing and monitoring all of Robin's actions. Because he needs to be responsible for his actions back then. If Robin really becomes a hazard to the world, then he will take the responsibility of eliminating this threat. As Admiral, Shizen certainly knows the whole story of the Alabasta incident. He didn't expect Robin to hide under Shichibukai's command after he disappeared for 6 years. Although I don't know the purpose and reason of it. But sooner or later, Robin, who joins the ranks of the great pirates, will become a real threat. This time it was a sand crocodile. Maybe next time it will be 4 emperors. So Aokiji finally determined the final assessment of Robin who joined the Straw Hats. The encounter on the uninhabited island was not really a coincidence. Aokiji arranged the water capital incident afterwards. Otherwise, how could Lu Chi and the others, who were performing undercover missions in the capital of water and pointed at the blueprints of feasting on the ugly, know of Robin's whereabouts the moment she arrived? This is also the information given by Admiral Aokiji. Afterwards, the arrest and coercion of Robin. Also secretly instructed by Admiral Aokiji. The purpose is to test the bond between Robin and the Straw Hats. If Robin still betrays his partner as before, Aokiji will not hesitate to personally arrest. If Robin is willing to sacrifice himself to protect the Straw Hats. Robin's test passed. However, he still faces the crisis of being arrested. After that comes the test of the Straw Hat crew. Test whether they have enough strength to protect the Devil's Son who is coveted by all parties. The test Aokiji gave them was CP9. It's just that Admiral Aokiji didn't expect it. The Straw Hat crew, who failed the assessment of the first week, was really daring and launched the challenge of the second week. I chased after Enies Lobby directly from the capital of water, and caused a commotion. And I handed over the golden phone bug to Spandam on a whim, but I didn't think too much about it. The result is that I never thought that idiot Spandam actually activated the Buster Call. Here, the situation was somewhat out of his control. But that's all right. Just next, the appearance of Chiu was far beyond Admiral Aokiji's expectation. This whole incident has gone completely berserk. Not long ago, when I discovered Chiu for the first time, Admiral Aokiji just couldn't help but want to enter. The burst of breath at that moment was still captured by Chiu's knowledgeable perception. The reason why Chiu used the air shock to cause the tsunami. One of the reasons is also to force out Admiral Aokiji, who was secretly spying on the screen. As predicted, when Marine is about to be wiped out, Admiral Aokiji, who is the highest combat power of Marine, naturally cannot remain indifferent. Ice Age, start. Admiral Aokiji appeared. The collision between the Admiral of Headquarters and the uncrowned Emperor of the New World is imminent. Advertisement Chapter 64 Sengoku shocked. Garp attack. Aokiji is blown up. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Not long ago, the Buster Call turmoil is still going on. The dignified atmosphere still enveloped the entire headquarters. The sailors who stayed at the headquarters were in groups of 3s and 2s, talking a lot. The focus of the discussion is naturally the target island of the Buster Call. Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby. It is one of the 3 institutions of the world government. But now the Marine is going to implement the Buster Call destruction operation there. Marine took the initiative to destroy her own island, even the Marine companions on the island were ignored. Either way, it's all too weird. This moment, many sailors had different ideas about Buster Call's categorical order. Not just ordinary sailors. Even the marshal standing at the top of the Marine is frowning deeply at this moment. When the attack was first ordered, thinking of the absoluteness of Buster Call, Yuan Sengoku is naturally refreshed. Now that I think about it carefully, I finally come to my senses. I feel that the implementation of the Buster Call this time is really too sloppy. That guy Kuzan, who the hell gave the golden phone bug to some idiot? Marshal Sengoku gritted his teeth. This is simply because the flood has washed the Dragon King Temple, and my family beats my own family. If it gets out, it must be the scandal and black history of Marine. It has caused great damage to the prestige of the Marine and the government. It's just that it's over. The Buster Call warships are probably already in combat by now. It was too late to withdraw. Sure enough, we still need to find a scapegoat. Straw Hat Crew, Monkey D. Luffy, I'm sorry, Garp, this time I'll take your grandson as the scapegoat. But this matter was started by your grandson in the first place. Marshal Sengoku thought flatteredly. Information management and control, their marine and world government are also professional. Since the previous Alabasta incident, Smoker was able to take the credit. The Enies Lobby incident, of course, can push all the faults to the pirates. Thinking of this, Marshal Sengoku's tense mood also relaxed a lot. Marshal Sengoku. The sound of hurried footsteps accompanied by screams of panic came from the corridor. Marshal Sengoku, who was so scared that he relaxed, almost fell under the desk. After returning to the usual posture at a speed of 1/10 of a second. Come in. Marshal Sengoku spoke majestically. His gaze then fell on the green-haired Commodore Branu who pushed the door open. What's the matter, Brandon? It's outrageous to be in such a panic. Sengoku feigned anger and scolded. Yes, I am truly sorry, Marshal Sengoku. The green-haired Commodore Branu bowed and apologized. Get up, what's the matter? Sengoku nodded in satisfaction. Marshal Sengoku, something serious happened. Just now, I received a report from the Buster Call Special Operations Team. 10 Buster Call warships headed for Enies Lobby, nearly wiped out. The green-haired Commodore Brandon reported anxiously. Nani, you tell me again, what is almost annihilated? Sengoku, who was originally nodding his head in response, jumped up in shock. The whole person trembled slightly because of the extreme shock and disbelief. After all, it was a Buster Call that gathered 5 elite vice admirals and 100,000 sailors. Wherever you go, you will use islands as units to carry out destruction strikes. However, now some people actually say that their Marine's highest-level military operation was almost reversed. What a joke. Yes, Naval Headquarters Commodore Brandon, with short green curly hair, stood at attention and saluted. He swallowed hard, and then continued to report. In this operation, in addition to the invasion of Straw Hat crew, Enies Lobby also has an unexpected man. Who the hell is it? Tell me quickly. Sengoku was in a hurry. He was extremely dissatisfied with Branu's trick report. That unexpected man is Chiu. Red Hair Pirates Vice Captain, Chiu. The green-haired Commodore Brandon yelled out the heavy name. It wasn't that he didn't want to speak out. Advertisement. In fact, it was the weight of the name that made him unable to speak. A moment of silence. Nani. Marshal Sengoku's voice also increased by more than an octave. Red Hair Pirate's mate. That arrogant B**********************************************************************************************************************************************่********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** yelled, almost breaking his voice. It was about a week ago. Someone in New World witnessed the man doing the Sky Island challenge with Mihawk. They supposedly came from the sky to the first half, but it doesn't matter now. Vice Admiral, Marine's chief staff officer, came and acted vigorously. Behind her was a tall and beautiful woman. It's just that she kept her head down at this moment, with a slight sadness on her face. Obviously what was agreed last time, although they are in different camps, they must fight for their own justice. However, he deceived himself once again. What a hopeless idiot I am. Marine Admiral candidate Momoshiki Gion tightly pursed her small mouth, stubbornly trying not to let the tears fall. Xiaohei, what's going on? What the hell happened to Buster Call's near destruction? Marshal Sengoku realized that the most urgent task is not to find out how Chiu got here, but what impact his actions had on Marine. According to the report of the flying squirrel, he smashed the sky. Vice Admiral Crane said in a deep voice. What did you say? True or false? Splitting. How do you break it? Sengoku was startled again, obviously frightened by the statement of Vice Admiral Crane. It's not over yet. After smashing the sky with a knife, it also caused a tsunami. Vice Admiral Crane added with a complicated look. Atmospheric shattering. Tsunami. Hearing these key words, Marshal Sengoku felt a little inexplicably familiar. Cemetery. He reacted. Airquakes cause seaquakes and create tsunamis. Isn't that the best move of that B************ D Whitebeard? As Whitebeard coming to, Sengoku's voice really broke this time. Because he found that this guess is really not impossible. After all, many people in the Whitebeard pirates are wandering in the first half. In order to eliminate the traitor Teach, it is not surprising that Whitebeard personally dispatched. No, Sengoku, all of this is caused by that arrogant man. Vice Admiral Crane's quiet way, the deep meaning is self-evident. When they don't know, Chiu has become stronger again. Far scarier than they ever knew. It's even very possible to have some kind of ability similar to Whitebeard's. Call. Hearing Vice Admiral Crane deny his dire suspicion. Marshal Sengoku finally breathed a sigh of relief and sat back on his chair. Then, Brandon said earlier that it was almost destroyed, which means that Huo Shaoshan and the others should be fine. Sengoku regained his composure, and his head began to function again. It is no longer as startled as it was at first. Okay. Vice Admiral, he nodded in a deep voice. Fortunately, Kuzan arrived in time and froze the sea, and the Buster Call fleet was spared. It really is Kuzan. Marshal Sengoku was not much of a surprise. After all, in this sea, there are not many people who can handle the tsunami. Among the Marines, only Aokiji's freezing ability can do it. It's just that questions follow. What the hell is that guy Kuzan doing this time? I just asked him and he started messing around. The golden phone bug can be given to anyone. I don't believe. Sengoku shook his head and didn't continue talking in front of Branu and Gion. After all, Admiral's reputation is at stake. Rot. He could only ask Kuzan afterwards why it was such a coincidence that he happened to be wandering around the Enies Lobby at that time. Even though he was there, he turned a blind eye to the Straw Hat crew's uproar. If he had intervened earlier, there would have been no such troubles later. Marshal Sengoku became more and more angry. At this time, Sengoku. There was a roar full of anger. Marine legend Vice Admiral Hero Garp strode in. The preparations for sailing are complete. Advertisement. I can go anytime and give the Redhead a head-on blow. Garp waved his iron fist, full of fighting spirit. Garp, this time it's not the Redhead, it's Chiu. Vice Admiral Crane emphasized. It doesn't make much difference whether it's Redhead or Chiu. The red hair pirates are not good anyway. Garp curled his lips. There is a lot of resentment towards the red hair pirates. This is also natural. After all, Red Hair is the one who led his grandson into the pirate way. Garp was going to train Straw Hat Luffy to become the Marine King. As a result, one was inattentive. Just let the redhead Shanks give it a hoot. So many years. Garp didn't say anything, but his heart was full of resentment. It's just because of some deep-seated reasons. It's not easy for him to go directly to the red hair pirates to find fault. Now, the handle was finally delivered to the door. Garp is already gearing up. By the way, this time go to Enies Lobby to join the battle. He can also, fairly, give his grandson a drink. It's not good to avoid being caught later. Although he became a pirate, he was his own grandson no matter what. Sengoku, hurry up and order. Garp couldn't wait to urge. Mr. Sengoku, I'm going too. Gion raised his hand, with tears in his eyes. Gion, don't cry. Your uncle Garp will help you teach that scumbag a lesson later. Garp patted Shang-Ji-Yu and promised that he would stand out for Gion. He's not a scumbag. Gion widened her beautiful eyes and retorted. Gah. Garp was dumbfounded. Why is this kid turning his elbow outward? Vice Admiral, he smiled helplessly. Brandon was dumbfounded. Before asking, he was slapped and pulled out of the Marshal's office by Marshal Sengoku. Don't worry, Garp. Vice Admiral Crane rode. How can you not be in a hurry? If you don't hurry up, that guy will run away. Garp stares. You start now, and when you get to the place, the day lily will be cold. Vice Admiral Crane spread their hands. Okay. Garp doesn't understand. Originally, with the help of the high-speed circum-sea current between the gates of justice, we could reach Enies Lobby within an hour. But now don't forget that the gates of justice are still open over at Enies Lobby. And now the sea is frozen by Kuzan, the door can't be closed. So now it takes at least half a day to go to Enies Lobby. Vice Admiral Crane explained. Then let that kid Kuzan hold him back for a long time. It should be reasonable for an admiral to go all out for half a day. Garp said naturally. If it's the time of night, it's not too difficult to simply delay. Just do you know what time it is? Vice Admiral Crane looked strange. What time is it? Garp really doesn't know. 12 noon. Marshal Sengoku said. Gah. Garp was dumbfounded again. Don't say it's Kuzan. Even if it's you, Garp, can you win against the man at noon? Vice Admiral Crane asked back. Right now, it's best to be able to live in peace. Marshal Sengoku. The green-haired Commodore Brandon went back and forth, yelling in a hurry. It's fighting. Just received a call for help from Enies Lobby. Kuzan Admiral is about to be blown up. ... Advertisement Chapter 65 Battle of the Generals. Kuzan vs. Chiu. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Boom. A tall figure jumped down from the bridge of hesitation. It fell on the thick ice of tens of meters, creating an ice hole with a radius of 100 meters. The criss-crossing cracks spread out with the ice cave as the center. Chi. The ice melted under the high temperature. The melted seawater further evaporated and turned into scorching hot water vapor, covering all directions. The sound of heavy footsteps came from the scorching water mist. Every step that falls makes the spacious ice surface shake slightly. Jingle bell. The crisp bicycle bell rang. Admiral Aokiji parked his vehicle next to the warship. After a simple greeting to Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel and others, Admiral Aokiji turned around and faced the tall figure who was coming with the scorching hot mist trailing flames. Finally, Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji Kuzan meets Chiu, the uncrowned emperor of the New World. Even the 3-meter-high headquarters admiral needs to look up in front of Chiu today. Ah la la, it was unexpected. The arrogance of the red hair pirates. I can't figure it out, you actually appear here. Admiral Aokiji took a deep breath, with a serious expression on his face. Obviously, in front of Chiu at noon. He also felt great pressure. I'm not really surprised by your appearance. Chiu calmly said. 187. Oh, Admiral Aokiji raised his eyebrows unexpectedly, but he didn't look into it carefully. He glanced calmly at the black-haired girl on the bridge. Can I ask one last question? Admiral Aokiji said. Yes, it's just that time is precious. If you continue to drag it on, I will become stronger and stronger. Chiu grinned. Why are you helping that woman? Could it be that you red hair pirates are finally getting your hands on historical texts? Admiral Aokiji asked with piercing eyes. Don't get me wrong, Aokiji. All of these are my actions according to my own will. Chiu replied with a smile. Then why? Aokiji pressed again. I just accepted the commission of a ship. Chiu said. A commission. A ship. Admiral Aokiji was at a loss, his head was full of small question marks. Time does not wait. Let's go, Aokiji. Today I want to try. How many minutes does it take to defeat an admiral? Chiu grinned arrogantly. Admiral Aokiji came back to himself. He shook his head, dispelling the redundant thoughts in his mind. Although I don't want to fight Chiu with the strongest posture at this worst time. But now that the arrow is on the string, it has to be launched. Today's battle cannot be avoided. And for Chiu's previous arrogant words. Defeating an admiral in a few minutes, this sentence, Aokiji is also very concerned. After all, what he represents is the highest combat power of naval headquarters. Ah la la, as an admiral, I'm really underestimated. Admiral Aokiji is habitually ah la la. Swish. His figure jumped up lightly, and opened a distance of tens of meters from Chiu. Come on, Aokiji, let's go and fight. Chiu haki drank high. The whole body is overflowing with the power of the sun. The terrifying heat melted the ice beneath his feet. As you wish. Admiral Aokiji took a deep breath and didn't think about anything else. Concentrate on the battle ahead. Bitter cold air spread. Refreeze the melted ice. Advertisement. Ice cube. Storm pheasant's mouth. Admiral Aokiji jumped high. The ability of Logia frozen fruit is instantly stimulated to the limit. A large bird tens of meters in size emerged out of thin air. Charged towards Chiu on the ice. Chiu neither dodges nor evades. Just raised his right hand calmly. The rich power of the sun is almost substantive. One after another, the flames of the sun lingered on Chiu's arms. Boom. Finally, Admiral Aokiji's ice bird touched with Chiu's sunfire fist. A little light then bloomed. Brighter than the scorching sun in the sky. Occupying the sight of everyone inside and outside the battlefield. What followed was a terrifying explosion. The ice battlefield was like a giant firework exploding. Circle after circle of the sun's halo spread out, and the atmosphere in the prison swelled into ripples. There was a vast expanse of whiteness on the battlefield. It was scorching hot vapor from the ice evaporated by the raging fire. The pressure is full of heaven and earth. What are you still doing? Back away quickly. Vice Admiral burns the mountain and drank majestically. Order the buster call sailors watching the battle to retreat. How's the battle going, Admiral? How about Aokiji Admiral? Sure, it's Kuzan Admiral. The sea soldiers couldn't help but sweat. Even hundreds of meters away, they could still clearly feel the terrifying high-temperature breath. Swish. A figure rushed out from the scorching water vapor. Look, it's Kuzan Admiral. The sailors all shouted excitedly. However, in the next second, the smiles on the faces of the sailors faded. Because Admiral Aokiji, who appeared in front of them at this moment, is really not in good condition. The marine uniform on his body was tattered, worse than the beggars on the side of the road. The exposed skin has obvious burn marks, and the face is as black as the bottom of a pot. A head of curly hair was even more curly at the moment, exuding a burnt air. Apparently in the vapor that people can't see. Admiral Aokiji has had several head-on collisions with Chiu. The current embarrassment is the result. But even if it is a bit embarrassing, Admiral Aokiji's eyes were still clear. The breath is also strong as usual. The moment it soared into the sky, he raised his hands above his head in a gesture of support. An extremely cold balloon took shape in his hands. Ice cube. Thousand thorn spear. Admiral Aokiji gave a loud shout. The hockey puck that was held high suddenly spun. One after another, frozen spears were formed from it, shooting towards the center of the water vapor. The steam ball with a radius of 100 meters suddenly solidified. Then it was torn to pieces by Admiral Aokiji's attack. Aggressive. The sharp ice spears shot down. One after another circular hollows appeared on the solid ice surface. Up to several meters deep. It can be seen how powerful these ice spears are. It can definitely penetrate the human body with ease. Unfortunately, now his opponent is Chiu. That sharp ice spear that can pierce even gold and stone. It didn't even leave a mark or white spot on Chiu's body. Hundreds of thousands of ice spears landed on the ice around Chiu except for a few. More than 90% of the rest were head-on hits to Chiu's vital points all over his body. However, even his physical defense cannot be broken. The moment it touched Chiu's body, the ice spear exploded. Even the ice spear that hit his eyes was melted by the fire of the sun erupting from Chiu's eyes before it got close. Boring temptation. Chiu sneered. Take it with you. 3 ice spears fell between his large hands. Chiu shook his hand and threw it away. Advertisement. Throw the ice spear before it melts. The target is naturally Admiral Aokiji in midair. 3 ice spears pierced Admiral Aokiji's body without any mistakes. But there was no blood spatter. Kuzan Admiral. Accompanied by the nervous shouting of the sailors. Admiral Aokiji's body shatters and disintegrates. Some of the ice cubes fell on top of the ice. Reshape the body in one breath. Ah la la, he really deserves to be comparable to the Emperor of the Sea. No, he is a man who can compete for the strongest man in the world. Admiral Aokiji spoke with emotion. Before today. Admiral Aokiji's knowledge of Chiu is limited to those few engagement reports. Judging from the experience of previous people, he knew that Chiu's physical defense was very strong. Ordinary swords, bullets, and shells cannot cause the slightest effective damage. However, until now in person, only then did he realize that his estimates in the past were still too conservative. This guy's physical defense is not only strong. It is clearly super strong. It's just like King Kong. Compared with Big Mom Charlotte Linlin's steel balloon body, it is even worse. Stop wasting time, get on with it. Chiu stared aggressively at Admiral Aokiji. He took a sudden step forward. The aroused shock wind dispelled the water vapor in the sky. Admiral Aokiji looked up. It is going to rain. As his voice fell, the heavy rain suddenly poured down. The huge amount of water vapor that evaporated previously condenses when it condenses. Generate this downpour that only covers a radius of 100 meters. So what? Chiu raised his eyebrows. When the downpour touched the ground 10 meters around him, it was evaporated by high temperature. The place where Chiu stands now is like a pure land. That's it. Admiral Aokiji raised his hand. The heavy rain between heaven and earth suddenly stagnated. Immediately afterwards, under the influence of Ultimate's cold air, the countless raindrops turned from liquefied to solid. Solidified and deformed, and finally became long and narrow ice needles one after another. Ice cube. 10,000 needles sword. Admiral Aokiji spoke calmly. The endless ice needle sword turned its edge and connected into one piece. The sun shines down, and the endless cold light flickers. Compared with the previous ice spear, these ice needle swords may be 0.4 weaker in strength. But the penetrating power is even stronger than the ice spear. The most important thing is the quantity. It is also 10 times stronger than before. Water drop stone will wear. No matter how strong the defense is. If he is focused a bit, he will attack continuously. After all, there will be some flaws. Now Admiral Aokiji wants to try to find a breakthrough in Chiu. Drink. Admiral Aokiji drank violently and swung his hands down suddenly. In an instant, thousands of sharp ice needle swords covered Chiu's body. One after another, neatly lined up. The sound of crackling crackled into pieces one after another. Countless ice shards scattered and splashed. But at the moment when a needle sword exploded, immediately there was a latecomer to catch up. Chiu was not left with the slightest chance to breathe. Under such intensive targeted strikes by Admiral Aokiji, even Chiu, who had the body of a diamond, was forced to take a half step back. There are a few fragile ice needles standing on the part of the focus. Just hangs just above the skin without spilling. But for the time being, it can be regarded as the initial breakthrough of Chiu's diamond body. Admiral, Marine's highest combat power, is really not a simple thing. But now I am far above you, Admiral Aokiji. Now. It's 12 o'clock at noon. Advertisement Chapter 66. The battle ends in 1 minute. Admiral Aokiji lost. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Ooh, Kuzan Admiral Mighty. See, this is the highest combat power of our marine. Become a sieve under Kuzan Admiral's attack. Looking at Chiu covered by thousands of needles and swords. The sailors watching the battle hundreds of meters away shouted excitedly. However, their excited cheers soon came to an abrupt end. Unbelievable shock and disbelief appeared on each face. The sailors couldn't believe their eyes. What did they see? The front suffered the firepower of Admiral Aokiji, which was more violent than that of the machine gun. Let alone Chiu turned into a sieve, he still couldn't see even a scratch on his body. He is still unharmed. What a horror. Monster. Sure enough, as the intelligence said, that man is a monster. Even the dragon body of Kaido of the beasts is not as good as him. Vice Admiral Daubman gritted his teeth. Is Kuzan Admiral really okay? Stallo Berry was frightened. That's Admiral from our marine. How could it be so easy to lose? Lieutenant General Ghost Spider said. But just in case, we must always be ready for support. Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan looked solemn, and he turned his head to look at Yushu. Have you already contacted the headquarters? We're in touch. The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel was sweating profusely. The effort between speaking. The battlefield of the Emperor hundreds of meters away. Surprised and reborn. The temperature in the air keeps rising. It is obviously on the 10,000 Li ice sheet. However, it gives people a feeling as if they are in a sea of fire and are being roasted on the fire. So hot. 29. What the hell is going on here? It's too hot. Evidently there is Kuzan Admiral. Why is it so hot? The sailors screamed. Everyone, continue to retreat. Vice Admiral made a quick decision and ordered that. A rise in temperature in the air is an extremely bad sign. This means that the sun at noon has risen to its highest point. At the same time, it also represents that Chiu's strength has reached its peak state. The rumored sun of pride is really about to appear this time. A drop of cold sweat oozed from Admiral Aokiji's forehead. Before it slips, it will be evaporated by the terrifying high temperature. This moment, Aokiji with the Logia frozen fruit ability. He was born with an extremely cold air, and he felt like he was about to be heated. This is the first time since getting the frozen fruit. At this moment, he only felt that he was in the center of the sun. Before the heat of the sun, even frozen fruit is completely suppressed. Under Aokiji's vibrating gaze, Chiu raised his right hand high, pointing to the sky with one hand. From now on, resolve the battle in 1 minute. Are you ready? Chiu looked at Admiral Aokiji. He looked at Chiu whose whole body was covered by the fire of the sun. The warning signs in Admiral Aokiji's heart rose to the extreme. There was no leisure to respond to Chiu's arrogant words. Admiral Aokiji launched his strongest hidden killer without hesitation. Snapped. He slapped his palm on the ground. Boom. The huge ice surface was shaken violently. A angular, icy titan's head protruded from behind Admiral Aokiji. Immediately afterwards, rumble, there were bursts of ground chirping. Under the incredible eyes of people. Advertisement. Just a few breaths. A titan made entirely of ice rose from behind Admiral Aokiji. This is Admiral Aokiji's final resort. The dark blue frost titan is super compressed with extremely cold air, and its hardness is comparable to steel. Although the height of 20 meters is not the limit. However, frost titan's body does not always mean bigger is better. The bigger the body, Hawkeye's distribution is more dispersed. Corresponding strength and defense will be weakened. The 20-meter frost titan happens to be perfectly controlled by Admiral Aokiji. Whether it is agility, attack or defense, it is the best. Admiral Aokiji took a deep breath and jumped into the space between Titan's eyebrows. Frost Titan's originally lifeless eyes suddenly lit up. The great sword standing in front of him danced in the wind. It was also at the moment when Admiral Aokiji entered the Frost Titan. Boom! The roar of the icy ground reappeared. It was Chiu who was surrounded by the fire of the sun, stepping, running, and attacking actively. Every step that falls makes the thick ice layer crack a huge gully for it. Facing Chiu who made a strong attack, Admiral Aokiji is also relentless. My mind moved. The Frost Gundam, made of extremely cold air, moved forward with trembling footsteps. The melted ice refrozen beneath his feet, even if it is an ordinary flame. At this moment, it is hard to escape Admiral Aokiji's domineering and freezing air at the awakening level. But what was burning on Chiyu's body at this moment was not an ordinary flame. The flame with a golden red color is the raging sun fire. Even the air conditioning of Admiral Aokiji's awakened frozen fruit can't freeze and extinguish it. Finally, the Pride Sun makes contact with the Frost Titan. A terrifying ultimate collision ensues. The Frost Titan Gundam controlled by Admiral Aokiji and the Chiu with the body of the sun finally clashed in an all-round way. The Frost Titan wields the great sword, Frostmourne, in his hand. A dark blue breath burst out from the tip of the sword. It's not sword energy. It was a shock wave of frost that was even colder than the air conditioning in Wonquan. As soon as this frosty shock wave came out, even the high temperature of the sun is vaguely suppressed. However, it was only for a moment. Seeing the frost shock wave approaching, Chiu unsheathed the famous knife griffin from his waist. Between waving, a huge solar flame sword Chi swayed out. The 100-meter flame sword energy and the shock wave of the frost-cold great sword touched. A light that is even more dazzling than the sun blooms. The golden red sun and the deep blue frost divide the sky and the earth equally. A moment of stalemate. Frost Titan's frost shock wave was sliced open and devoured by the sun's flame sword energy. A tall figure rushed out from between the flames. Grabbed towards the main body of Frost Titan. Admiral Aokiji, who captured Chiyu's trajectory with observation haki, constricted his pupils. There was a great sense of crisis in my heart. Subconsciously. Drink. Admiral Aokiji raised his great sword high, and slashed towards the locked target. The sharp ice blade and the famous knife griffin, which is rendered in golden red, touched head-on. The cold air on the dark blue blade melted and evaporated under the erosion of the sun's fire. Immediately afterwards, even more terrifying things happened. When the power of Chiyu's double hidden shock was triggered. Ka ka ka. The frost great sword condensed with extremely cold freezing air made an overwhelmed clicking sound. Then it exploded under the horrified eyes of Admiral Aokiji and the sailors watching the battle from afar. Boom. The shock wave of terrifying power spreads. The 20-meter level Frost Titan staggered and backed up again and again. Frost Titan's original dark blue color is also half as light. Admiral Aokiji's complexion in the Gundam control room was also a little pale. This powerful Frost Titan is the awakened body of frozen fruit, and it is also closely related to his body. Titan is injured, and it will eventually be fed back to his body. Allah, it is indeed the temperature of the sun, it is beyond my imagination. Advertisement. Admiral Aokiji smiled helplessly. He knew that even if he had already used his final trump card. After all, he was no match for Chiyu at noon. The worst situation. It might even be as Chiyu said. As the highest combat power of Marine, he will be defeated in a very short time. But you can only do your best. Admiral Aokiji took a deep breath. Frost Titan took a step forward, closing the distance with Chiyu again. Biting cold hit. If ordinary people are afraid, they will be frozen into popsicles just by approaching. That's the scary thing about frozen fruit's awakening. Damage offset. In exchange for ultimate attack damage. Even if it is a strong physique with high-level armed body protection. Even touching the body of the Frost Titan will inevitably cause frostbite. However, the cold air had no effect on Chiyu, who was as hot as the sun at the moment. Not the slightest bit of fear or hesitation. Chiyu jumped into the air, facing Admiral Aokiji with overwhelming sun fire. Ola ola ola. Hot fists rained down. The dull crashing sound is mixed with the overwhelmed clicking sound. Large criss-crossing cracks appeared on the Frost Titan's defensive shield. The body of the Titan is also interlaced with ravines. The color changes from dark blue to light blue. Blood spilled from Admiral Aokiji's nose and mouth. 597. His complexion became more and more haggard. Not good. If this continues, Mr. Kuzan will soon be unable to hold on. Mr. Aokiji's Frost Titan is about to explode. The faces of Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel and others who watched the battle from afar changed drastically. However, even if you know it, there is nothing you can do about it. He could only clenched his fist unwillingly. Even Admiral, the highest combat power of their marine, was crushed by Chiu at the moment. There was no way to fight back. How can they? Even if they attack desperately, they are just cannon fodder. In an instant, it will be completely burned by the terrifying sun fire. It's over. The Vice Admiral Flying Squirrel was as pale as snow. The voice fell. Only a dull thump sounded. Like the heartbeat of heaven and earth. It's almost a minute. It's time to end it. Aokiji. Chiu spoke calmly, slowly clenched his right fist. Looks like it's over. But let me be a Marine Admiral, too. Admiral Aokiji grinned, forcibly pushing out his limits, pouring all his strength into his fists. The right fist that was originally full of cracks suddenly burst into blue light. The cracks are all smoothed and healed. Come on, this is my last too. Admiral Aokiji's eyes were bright, and he threw his ultimate punch at Chiu. You are strong, but I am stronger than you. Chiu grinned wildly and arrogantly. The fists that gathered the power of the sun burst forth, high-spirited. It's a hit from the sun. It's the punch of the sun. Boom. Rumble. The giant frost fist touched it and broke instantly. Chiu's figure rushed all the way along the frost titan's fist. Also in an instant, the 20-meter level frost titan exploded. Countless ice cubes scattered and splashed. Before it hits the ground, it is melted and evaporated by high temperature. Between the ice cubes, Admiral Aokiji was powerless and flew upside down, spurting blood from his mouth. The battle of the generals is over. Naval Headquarters highest combat power, Admiral Aokiji Kuzan, lost. Advertisement Chapter 67. Crush mountains, rivers and glaciers. The Enies Lobby event is over. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Kuzan Admiral. Mr. Kuzan, Admiral. On the ice battlefield of Enies Lobby, the terrified screams of the sailors came one after another, forming a series of scenes. Look at the frost titan that was crushed by Chiyu's punch. Looking at Admiral Aokiji who vomited blood and flew upside down. The faces of the sailors were filled with extreme shock and disbelief. They couldn't believe it. Admiral Aokiji, one of Naval Headquarters' highest combat powers, lost. And still lose so quickly in such a short period of time. After showing the strongest posture, he was still defeated by that man head-on. Not the slightest trick. A one-on-one duel. Admiral Aokiji was nearly crushed by Chiu. What a shock. What a horror. Looking at the figure that was as hot and dazzling as the sun and could not be seen directly. The eyes of the sailors were filled with uncontrollable panic. Kuzan. The Vice Admiral volcanic mountain rises into the sky on the moonwalk. Immediately followed by Admiral Aokiji who vomited blood and flew backwards. Vice Admiral Daubman, Ghost Spider and others drew their swords out of their sheaths vigilantly. If Chiu didn't intend to give up, they could only fight to the end. Hoo. After watching the previous battles, haven't you seen the insurmountable gap between you and me? Chiu stood proudly, looking down at the elite vice admirals of the headquarters. Cough cough. Everyone stop. Admiral Aokiji coughed out a mouthful of gore, opening his mouth with difficulty. Kuzan, Admiral, the Flying Squirrel and the others pursed their lips, but finally said nothing. Even the grumpy Ghost Spider has died down now. He didn't dare to say anything, but escorted Admiral Aokiji back to the warship to treat his injuries. Seeing that everyone in Marine leave with interest. Chiu didn't pursue him either. After all, the purpose of his trip was not to start an all-out war with Marine. The Straw Hats are almost over. Then, Chiu's gaze fell on the broken ice beneath his feet. The endless power of the sun gathered on his fist again. It was as if a scorching sun had formed on his fist. He, what is he going to do again? Are you still planning to do it? How? Under the terrified eyes of the sailors. Chiu, who was holding a round of the sun, suddenly punched and landed on the thick ice under his feet. The world is silent. Next second, the brightest light blooms. Occupied everyone's field of vision. People can only vaguely see the magma-like sun's fire swimming in the ice layer. The ice that had been frozen for Admiral Aokiji's ice age crumbled at this moment. Constantly melting and evaporating. It's been a long time. Stay calm. The thick ice area with a radius of 1 kilometer is no longer there. The sea returns to its liquid state. Waves are growing. Pushing the remaining little ice floes. Everything before was like a dream bubble. Only Admiral Aokiji, who was seriously injured, reminded everyone in Marine. Everything they witnessed happened in real life. Doberman Vice Admiral, what should we do next? A Rear Admiral Commander asked tremblingly. Vice Admiral Doberman looked at Chiu who had returned to the bridge of hesitation. He took a deep breath and gave the order. Retreat. Call. Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan, Flying Squirrel and others all let out a sigh of relief. Advertisement. If the opponent is that man, give up the mission immediately. This is also the meaning of the headquarters. Bridge of hesitation. Chiu withdrew all the power of the sun. Back in front of the stunned Robin with a shocked expression. Sorry to keep you waiting. It will take a little bit of effort to deal with a Marine Admiral. Chiu spoke calmly. Question mark. That's Admiral. Naval Headquarters highest combat power. Not some roadside Chinese cabbage. B. Looking at the tall figure in front of him. Robin felt an infinite sense of peace in his heart for no reason. Even Admiral Aokiji, the nightmare that haunted her for 20 years, was crushed and defeated by this man. Now there is nothing to be afraid of. A mere buster call, Robin thought. Let's go. It's almost time to go back. Chiu stretched out a big hand to Robin. Yes, a great honor. Robin smiled. The cold little hand rested on Chiu's hot big hand. Jump down. Going Mary, who escaped from the ice captivity, just caught the two firmly. Hey, wait a minute. Frankie, a strange-looking male transformation man in underwear, has finally reached the bridge of hesitation after going through untold hardships. During the period, it was also blown under the bridge by Spandam's landmine trap. After finally climbing up, it ended up going down again. Ah, go down, my uncle is here too. Frankie jumped down, just wanted to drop gorgeously to Going Mary. As a result, the sails turned. Frankie fell into the sea again magnificently. Good moment. Hoo. Frankie, who drank a bellyful of seawater, spewed out a jet of water like a whale, panting heavily. His eyes flicked around. It seems to be looking for something. Nico Robin, where's that guy? Where is that super powerful man? Frankie asked quickly. Robin just pointed to the cabin on the second floor. It's better not to disturb now. Robin's kind reminder. Heard the words. Frankie is also a rest. Honestly lying on the deck to rest. Recalling the shocking scenes that I witnessed before in my mind. The battle of those strong men standing at the top of the world can really destroy the world. In terms of strength, it is not much worse than the shelling of ancient weapon Pluton. Going Mary followed the current and swaggered to the vicinity of the Judiciary Tower. Miss Robin, with black feet full of love, Sanji twisted his waist and jumped down. He half-kneeled in front of Robin without waiting for hospitality. Suddenly a big foot stepped on his head, and Jail Sanji fell to the ground. Robin, where's the great swordsman from before? Where is he? Zoro, like Frankie before, asked anxiously. Robin smiled and pointed to the cabin. Zoro nodded knowingly. Knowing what Robin meant, he had no choice but to temporarily suppress the passion in his heart. And then, whole Chlorella, are you courting death? Sanji went berserk when Zoro kicked him down. The two live treasures were scuffling together. Mary, advertisement. My Mary, thank you, Mei Li, you really are the best ship. The Sniper King Usopp lovingly stroked every part of the Melee, tears streaming down his face. Another 3 minutes. Nami, Chopper, the mermaid Coco Luo Granny and others also returned to the Melee. Yeah, it's really the Melee. Chopper, who was immobilized due to the side effect of the rampage of the Rambo Ball, shouted happily. Mary really came to save us. Thank you, Mary. Nami was also moved to tears. What a fine ship. The mermaid Keluo sighed. Speaking of which, what happened before? We seem to be hearing a huge commotion. Coco asked. Ha. Mother-in-law, look. There are so many big warships over there. Like a mountain. Zimone, the little girl with braids, yelled in surprise. Meow. The little blue rabbit Kunbi meowed in agreement. Nami, who reacted belatedly, suddenly widened her eyes in fright. She could roughly guess that it was Buster Call's warship. Don't be afraid, Nami. Robin strode forward and hugged the trembling Nami. It's all over. Those Marines won't do anything to us. Robin smiled reassuringly. Really? Nami spoke weakly. Of course. Robin glanced at the cabin room on the second floor intentionally or unintentionally. As long as that person is there. Marine absolutely dare not do anything to this ship. Ha. Robin has been rescued, so hurry back and leave this ghost place. Reassuring, Nami smiled brightly. Wait a moment. Green algae head Zoro seemed to have thought of something, raised his hand to stop it. Speaking of, Miss Nami, did we forget something? Sanji, who has always been obedient to Nami's words, did not agree immediately at this moment. Okay, the atmosphere suddenly fell into an awkward silence. There seemed to be a few quacking crows flying in the sky. The eyes of everyone in the Straw Hat crew opened wide at the same time. Luffy, Robin, Nami and the other 6 members of the Straw Hats shouted in unison. They finally remembered. The forgotten one. When they relax and laugh. It seems their captain is still struggling. Just when everyone was preparing to help the Straw Hat Luffy. Sensation. Suddenly, there was a loud rumble on the No. 1 warehouse battlefield. Rubber. Machine gun batter. Under the desperate machine gun of Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy. CP9 800 years strongest Rob Lucci defeated. This long-lasting battle has since come to an end. Luffy. Everyone in the Straw Hats shouted excitedly. Everyone, I won. Straw Hat Luffy made a V gesture. The body staggered weakly, and then fell headlong into the sea. A solid catch for Going Mary. Little ones, set sail. Straw Hat Luffy yelled with the last of his strength. Going Mary rides the wind and rides the waves. Under the eyes of 10 Buster Call warships, they swaggered away. The Enies Lobby incident is now over. Advertisement Chapter 68 Farewell to Melee. Welcome Garp and Gion. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Naval Headquarters, Office of the Marshal. A dignified atmosphere enveloped it. No one spoke. There is no high-speed circulation between the gates of justice. It will take at least half a day for the warships of Naval Headquarters to reach Enies Lobby. Absolutely not in time. It is not without possibility of arriving in a short time. Some guy clocking in at Admiral's office right now is capable of arriving. It's just that Sengoku et al. No. That guy didn't want to go to this muddy water even if he was killed. Even if I go, I will watch a movie, paddle, and make soy sauce, and I will definitely not put in much effort. After all 4 years ago. Marshal Sengoku, we have news. The green-haired Commodore Brandon bit the bullet and came to report again. How's the situation, Kuzan? That kid is all right. Garp asked hastily. Among the 3 Marine admirals, Garp and Aokiji Kuzan have the most congenial temperament. In the past, Aokiji also followed Garp on missions. Needless to say the relationship between the two. Yes, Vice Admiral Garp. The green-haired Commodore Brandon nodded. Lucky in misfortune, Kuzan Admiral is alive. Marshal Sengoku frowned and asked, how about the details? Marshal Sengoku, that arrogant man left after defeating Kuzan Admiral. Our marine is fine this time except that Kuzan Admiral was seriously injured, a warship was scrapped, and 80,000 sailors were unconscious. Reported by Green Hair 200 Commodore Brandon 1510. With a happy smile on his face. For them who had expected the worst scenario of annihilation of the entire army. Now the result couldn't be better. Plus, that man has now left Enies Lobby with the Straw Hat crew. There will be no other accidents. Brandon added. Who, after listening to Brandon's report, everyone in the marshal's office couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Indeed, this is already the best result. The loss of a mere warship is nothing at all. The coma of 80,000 sea soldiers was only temporary. As for Admiral Aokiji, as long as you can't die, it's not a big deal. PFF ha 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 ha. Then it's about time for the old man to go. Go to the Enies Lobby to condolences to Kuzan first, then hum. I want to see what that B*********** D with the red hair wants to do when he sends someone over to contact Luffy. Garp's eyes brightened. The intention speaks for itself. If you can run away, the monk can't run away from the temple. Advertisement. He decided to go directly to the capital of water to arrest people. Even if you can't catch Chiu, you have to educate that idiot grandson after a long absence. Marshal Sengoku did not stop Garp's wayward behavior. Let him go and do it. In contrast, his immediate priority as marshal is to properly handle the aftermath of the Enies Lobby incident. Never let too much negative news leak out. Sister Crane. Gion turned his head and looked at his sister expectantly. Go go. Go if you want. But this time, don't be easily fooled by that man's rhetoric. Vice Admiral he shook his head helplessly. Oh. Gion clenched his little pink fist confidently, with a firm look on his face. I will never let him be fooled by this incident. I absolutely want him to give an explanation. The endless blue sea. A sheep-headed pirate ship with a dilapidated appearance that is close to being scrapped but exudes vigor moves forward happily. The shattered deck was filled with the laughter of the Straw Hat crew who had narrowly escaped death. Thank you, Mei Li, thanks to you, we were able to escape, we have been protected by you all this time, it is really great to have a partner like you, thank you, Mei Li. Straw Hat Luffy lay on the bow of the sheep, thanking him softly. On the deck, Nami, Robin, Chopper and other members of the Straw Hats were all beaming with joy. About 2 hours later, under the clear sky, the tattered Mei also met a big ship head-on. Big boat from water capital Carrera Corporation. Just when everyone in the Straw Hat crew greeted Ace Bagu, the mayor of the water capital, happily. Meili, the ship of strength, finally let go of her forced breath. Persist all the way here, until someone comes to pick up the partners on the deck. Its mission has finally been accomplished. I can't even move a step. Caw caw caw. Amidst the successive crackling sounds, the Meili suddenly broke into 2 pieces from the middle without any warning. The sudden bad news brought an abrupt end to the smiles on the faces of the Straw Hats on board. Uncle Ace Bagu, you are the shipbuilders. Hurry up and do something, hurry up and save Meili. Everyone in Luffy's Straw Hat group shouted and begged anxiously. For Straw Hat crew's request, Ace Bagu, the world's top shipbuilder, only looked sad. Let it sleep here, Ace Bagu said in a deep voice, CJ. A snow fell from the sky. A cluster of bright flames lit up above the sea. Captain Straw Hat Luffy throws the torch on the wrecked Mary. The raging fire ignited instantly. Mary, the ship of miracles that finally completed its final mission, held on. Finally, it is here to usher in its end. When people die. Boats are no exception, even more vulnerable than humans in many cases. I'm sorry, I wanted to drive you to a farther place. I'm sorry, I really want to take risks with you forever. An ethereal voice sounded again among the raging fire. Advertisement. It was the ship spirit whispering. Listening to the last farewell of the Meili, the Straw Hat crew, who had been holding back tears, finally couldn't help crying together. In the heavy snow, Straw Hat crew's sad cries continued. At the same time, no one noticed. At some point, Chiu, who had recovered to her normal size, had already arrived on Carrera's big ship. Unceremoniously occupying the room on the top deck that belongs to Ace Bagu. Neither did anyone notice. A thin streamer of light rushed from the burning Meili. Finally sank somewhere in the big ship. Then what the hell? Ace Bagu, the top ship engineer, seemed to have noticed something, and suddenly looked up. Shock and confusion were written on his resolute face. No, it should be an illusion. Ace Bagu shook his head and did not delve into it further. The farewell ceremony on the Mary lasted a full hour. After an hour, the wreck of the ship sank completely into the sea. Even if you don't want to give up, now is the time to leave. The people of Straw Hat crew boarded the big ship Carrera and headed back to the capital of water. Another 2 hours. The city of water has arrived. When the misunderstanding is clarified, learned that the pirate Straw Hat crew was not the one who assassinated Ace Bagu. Instead, it was after its savior. The attitude of the citizens of Water City towards Straw Hat crew has undergone a 180-degree change. So after hearing the news of Straw Hat crew's triumphant return, the entire water capital was boiling. Consider the Straw Hat crew just had a life and death battle. Ace Bagu stabilized the agitation of the people in the water capital. Temporarily declined everyone's request to see the hero. Straw Hat crew rested in the hut at Carrera No. 1 dock under arrangement. As for the residents in the No. 1 dock, it is owned by Chiu. Of course Mahawk, who arrived first, is also staying here at the moment. It's just that apart from Ace Bagu, not many people know the shocking fact that the world's #1 swordsman is currently in the dock. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days passed. Chiu couldn't retreat for some reason. Hawkeye Mahawk is also still retreating to consolidate his kendo perception that day. The other side, without the threats and pressure from the outside world, the Straw Hat crew has returned to its previous joy. Captain Straw Hat Luffy is using an ancestral sleep and eat trick. Nami, who had no hope in life, was completely refreshed after seeing the treasured orange tree and the return of money. And after Iron Man Frankie said that he wanted to use the treasure tree atom to build a ship for them himself. The atmosphere in the hut suddenly became extremely lively. Just as the Straw Hat crew was cheering for the new ship that landed. What they don't know is, a greater danger looms than the Enies Lobby incident. On the coast of the water capital, a marine warship is ushered in. At the bow is a signature giant Sharpei head, representing where it belongs. Naval Headquarters Legend Vice Admiral, Hero Garp is coming. Marine Candidate Admiral, Momosuke Gion is here too. Advertisement Chapter 69 Garp and Luffy. The Straw Hats are shocked. The one who saved us turned out to be. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The capital of water is near the sea. An iconic Sharpei-headed warship overbearingly crushed the wind and waves. Go straight in the direction of the water capital. Hurry up, increase the speed for me, haven't you eaten, little ones? On the bow of the warship, the old man wearing a Sharpei hat, like a pirate captain, yelled wantonly. This old man in the dog head hat is the legendary Vice Admiral of Naval Headquarters, the hero Garp. Mr. Garp, the boat is already at its top speed, no matter how hard you push it, it's useless. The marine generals on the warship were not without complaints. PFF ha 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 ha. This time, Sengoku personally issued an order to capture Enies Lobby, the vicious Straw Hat crew. Of course, I must be serious. Garp laughed. There was a crackling sound between the palms and fingers. He can't wait to meet his rebellious grandson. Then, after a long absence, he gave him an iron fist full of Grandpa's love. All the sailors on the deck were full of surprise. Never imagined that his boss, Vice Admiral Garp, would have such a day full of energy. Not good, not good. Vice Admiral Garp is really going to fight that monster this time. I heard from my seniors yesterday that Kuzan Admiral was blown away by that monster in just 1 minute. The face of a young double-jawed sailor in goggles, Beru Mibo, is terrified. This is the capital of water. Even Mr. Garp, he probably wouldn't act recklessly here. After all, if there is a real fight, the entire city of water will sink. Kebi, who had transformed from a chubby man into a tall and handsome guy in just a few months, also had a look of anger. Recruiters, why are you being lazy? The majestic Lieutenant Bogart stopped drinking. Yes, Kebi and Belumbo subconsciously stood at attention, saluted, and started doing chores. PFF ha 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 ha. Amidst Garp's angry laughter, the dog-headed warship approached the water capital at the fastest speed. 10 minutes later, the dog's head warship is only less than the last 100 meters away from the water capital. Mr. Garp, I'll go first. Wearing a tight pink short skirt, with slender legs wrapped in delicate silk, the Admiral candidate Momosuke Gion, who has obviously been well dressed, opened her mouth. After saying that, she lightly tapped the bow of the boat with her toes. Without waiting for Garp to say anything, he stepped on the moonwalk and soared straight into the sky. 3 or 2 ups and downs are the first to land in the water capital. That valiant and heroic appearance couldn't help but stun the G3 sailors. Gion Vice Admiral is indeed our marine's goddess. Strong and beautiful, it would be great if my future wife could have a bit of it. I don't know who will marry such an outstanding Gion Vice Admiral in the future. Being able to marry a wife like Gion Vice Admiral must be a blessing for 8 lifetimes. The sailors were all talking about it. Just looking at Gion's beautiful figure in the distance is enough to make them intoxicated. That girl in Gion, Garp, who knew the inside story, finally just sighed. Well, forget it, since that's the case, the old man should trouble Luffy first. At the same time, on the outskirts of the water capital, a certain ship abandoned spot. Zoro, a straw-hat swordsman with green algae hair, the pirate hunter, sat on a mossy wooden board. Quietly close your eyes and meditate. What came to his mind was the sword he saw at the Enies Lobby a few days ago. That sword that shattered the sky and set off a tsunami. No, imagination is unimaginable, I'm still far behind. Zoro opened his eyes, smiled wryly and shook his head. Just then, Zoro, who quit his meditation state, finally saw the huge marine warship in the distance. That's Marine. Damn it, did they come to your door so quickly? Advertisement. Zoro stood up in shock. It's still too late, we must notify everyone as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Zoro really ran away. Go through the straight street and turn a corner. What appeared in front of Zoro was a blue sea. Damn it, is it the wrong way? Zoro cursed in a low voice, and ran again decisively. After a few minutes, Zoro, who passed through an alley, suddenly opened up, and what appeared in front of him was still the blue sea. Damn it, is this island a maze? Zoro cursed and ran again. The third time, the fourth time. At this moment, Zoro's road crazy attribute has reached its ultimate. The other side, just when Zoro encountered a ghost hitting the wall. The marine troop headed by the old man in the dog hat and the legendary marine vice admiral hero Garp has arrived at Carrera No. 1 dock. The gate of the dock can stop the gathered people and reporters, but it cannot stop the mighty marine army. Under the horrified, nervous and restless eyes of the people of the water capital and the boatmen in the dock, marine hero Garp went straight to the hut where the Straw Hat crew lived. Hey, there was a happy arc on Garp's old face, and he breathed on his clenched right fist with his big mouth. Boom. There was a loud bang. Garp breaks through the wall. Are you the Straw Hat crew? Garp's loud voice exploded, causing the expression of everyone in the Straw Hat group in the room to change drastically. Damn it, it's coming so soon. Marine, Sanji and Frankie entered the state of preparation for the first time. Luffy in the captain's straw hat at the dining table is still fast asleep. Really, it's still as hopeless as before. Seeing his grandson sleeping like no one else, Garp was also speechless for a while. Swish. Suddenly the wind howled past Sanji and Frankie. The tall marine that was originally in their sight suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he suddenly came to the sleeping straw hat Luffy. Hurry up and get up. UB ************** D. Garp's shouting sound exploded in the room accompanied by the shaking of the earth and mountains. All of this happened between lightning and flint. Ah, it hurts, it hurts. Under Garp's iron fist of love, Straw Hat Luffy finally fully awakes. Holding his head and screaming in pain. It hurts. Stop kidding Luffy, it's just a fist, how can it work on rubber? Nami widened her beautiful eyes in shock and screamed out. A loving fist is defenseless. Garp grinned, raised his hand and took off the Sharpay cap on his head. You're making a fuss, Luffy. Alas, Grandpa. When he saw the familiar face under the dog's head hat, Luffy suddenly yelled in surprise. Oh, after a moment of silence, there was a sound of exclamation from everyone in the room. Marine Vice Admiral is Grandpa. Sanji, Chopper, Nami and others all cried out in shock. Also shocked and uproarious were the sea soldiers stationed in the courtyard. The sailors who learned about their boss, Vice Admiral Garp, and his grandson for the first time also widened their eyes in shock, and discussions erupted instantly. Hearing Garp's name from the sailors outside the door. Ask for flowers. Everyone in the straw hats in the house couldn't help being shocked again to the point where they couldn't be more shocked. If, Garp, that's the name of the marine hero. Nami spoke with a dull face. Hey, Luffy, is marine hero Garp really your grandpa? A thin layer of cold sweat appeared on Sanji's forehead. Yes, that's right, so absolutely don't make a move, I was almost killed by Grandpa countless times before. Advertisement. Luffy said solemnly. Hey, don't say such misleading words. The old man threw you into the abyss, into the jungle at night, and tied you to a balloon to fly into the air, all for the purpose of training you into a strong man. Garp had a natural look on his face. Nami, Sanji et al. I seem to know the source of Luffy's tenacious vitality. Nami and the others all had the same thought in their hearts. In the end, although I asked my friends to let you practice with Ace, it became like this if you didn't pay attention. Garp sighed to himself. I trained you to make you a strong marine soldier. I've always said I want to be a pirate. Retorted Straw Hat Luffy. Damn Redhead, I will never spare him next time we meet. Garp gritted his teeth. Zero. Shanks is my savior, you are not allowed to speak ill of him. Straw Hat Luffy was angry. How dare you order Grandpa not to say such things? Furious, Garp grabbed Luffy by the collar. I'm sorry, let me go, it hurts so much. The Straw Hat Luffy, who has always been fearless, subconsciously struggled violently. Everyone in Ling's Straw Hat group sweated subconsciously. However, the next second, the unexpected happens. Almost at the same time, Garp holding Luffy and the Straw Hat Luffy being held by Garp stopped in unison. Huge snotty sleep bubbles grow and shrink with their snores. People in the house, it's confirmed, it's indeed Grandpa and grandson. Nami stroked his forehead. Sure enough, Luffy's sleeping skills are also inherited from the ancestors. Sanji complained. After a while, Garp was the first to wake up from sleep. Waiting to see the Straw Hat who was also asleep, Garp couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Get up quickly, Luffy, is this an attitude of accepting others' lessons? And you dared to speak rudely to Grandpa before. Boom. Jingle bells. Straw Hat Luffy's tiny head turns into a pig's head under Garp's iron fist of love. No, I almost forgot the business. Garp slapped his head. His eyes swept over his grandson Luffy and the Straw Hats. Everyone was so frightened that they couldn't help but tremble. Luffy, and the little ghosts. I ask you, what the hell is the guy from the red hair pirates looking for this time? Hurry up, 15110. Garp put his arms around his arms, and asked coercively. Huh, everyone except Robin tilted their heads in puzzlement. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Shanks, did he find me? Straw Hat Luffy asked puzzled. Don't play dumb with Grandpa. The man who stopped Buster Call and rescued you from Enies Lobby. Isn't he the mate of the red hair pirates? Garp casts a sideways glance at Luffy. The voice fell. The room fell into absolute silence for an instant. As the rescuer that Melee brought here turned out to be such a big shot. Advertisement Chapter 70 Hawkeye vs. Gion. Hawkeye is confused. Gion moved. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Water Capital. A secluded courtyard in the depths of Carrera's #1 dock. Long before the marine hero Garp's party arrived. Gion came quietly. Follow the guidance of the hidden sword intent. It's just beyond Gion's expectations. It was not Chiu's sword intent that guided her. In this water capital, except for Chiu, who she wanted to meet. There was actually another senior swordsman. And this great swordsman, she is absolutely no stranger. Dracula Mahawk, why are you here? Gion stared at Hawkeye, who closed his eyes and meditated in the courtyard not far away. Daimei raised her eyebrows like a distant mountain, her pretty face was full of surprise. Hawkeye Mahawk's body trembled slightly, and slowly opened those eagle-like eyes. Marine Vice Admiral Momoshiki Gion. He also recognized Gion's identity. So he frowned slightly. If Marine sees him as a Shichibukai acting with the culprit who just made a big fuss at Enies Lobby. Inevitably, many troubles will arise. Clang. Gion waved his hand. The famous sword at the waist, Jinpailuo, was out of its sheath. In an instant, the golden light shines. Are you also here to challenge me? 847. Mahawk asked calmly. If you can just beat Gion back like this, that would be great. Forget it. Since you've said that, why not fight with you before meeting that guy? Opening of Gion Haki. High-spirited and full of fighting spirit. In this world, all swordsmen want to fight Hawkeye. After all, Hawkeye is the #1 swordsman in the world. Whoever can beat him will be the new second in the world. As the top-ranked swordsman in Marine. Of course, Gion also wants to have a real fight with the Eagle-Eye Mahawk who stands at the pinnacle of Kendo. It's just that there has been no chance. Especially after Hawkeye became Shichibukai. As a Marine, she has no reason to fight Hawkeye. But today, since Hawkeye himself spoke first. Gion also took advantage of the situation. I see. Seeing Gion respond, Mahawk stood up. With his backhand, he drew out the supreme sword Heidaoya that was carried on his back. Two invisible sword intents stirred in the courtyard. Silently, the grass in the courtyard garden is broken and the flowers are falling. Thick old trees, scenic rockery, scenic fountains, everything in the courtyard is shrouded in sharp sword intent. From time to time, there will be traces that seem to be cut by swords appear out of thin air. The two great swordsmen hadn't formally collided yet. The huge courtyard is already in a mess. The confrontation of sword intent lasted for more than a minute. Some moment. Gion snorted unconsciously. The fair and pretty face changed slightly. Obviously. In this invisible confrontation of sword intent, in the end she was slightly inferior and was the first to lose. As expected of being #1 in the world. But the real victory or defeat has only just begun. Gion smiled confidently. She tapped the ground with her toes. Without fear, he attacked Hawkeye first. Jingle. The crisp and pleasant sound of the clash of swords and swords can be heard instantly. Following the previous sword intent. What is going on now is a pure sword fight. The famous sword Jinpailuo in Gion's hand kept chopping, slashing, stabbing, and picking. Advertisement. The speed of the sword is extremely fast, and it turns into the afterimage of the Dao Dao sword. Even the atmosphere made tearing sounds one after another, as if being cut open. However, even if he showed such exquisite swordsmanship, Gion's sword was still out of reach, hurting Mahawk at all. From beginning to end, Hawkeye Mahawk didn't attack at all, just defended. Accurately intercept all attacks of Gion with the smallest swing. And it is obviously on the defensive side. But it was the attacker's Gion who retreated. One side attacks and retreats. One side defends and advances. Such a picture seems rather weird. When Gion's attack went to the 300th sword. Gion, who was unable to attack for a long time, felt a little anxious. So that the rhythm is slightly disturbed. At this time, Hawkeye Mahawk finally took the initiative. The broad black knife moves like an arm at night. It pierced through the sky over Gion's shoulder. A few strands of blue silk fluttered down with the wind. Although the blade of Heidaoyi never touched Gion. But it still made a hole in the cloak of justice on Gion's shoulders. Even the fair skin beneath it oozes a little bloodshot. You lose. You can go. Hawkeye Mahawk calmly withdrew the knife. Gion stood still in place in a daze. The white slender hands clenched tightly until they trembled. She lost. Of course, she is the most clear about this kind of thing. If the blade of the previous Hawkeye Mahawk was shifted by half an inch. Now she absolutely cannot continue to stand. Not reconciled. So unhappy. So many years in Marine. She has experienced countless battles, large and small. But he has never been so dissatisfied. A top-ranked swordsman in Marine. She is a candidate for Admiral, Marine's highest combat power. It was defeated in just a few minutes. How could such a thing be accepted so easily? This moment, Gion also felt the unwillingness of Admiral Aokiji who met yesterday. Admiral Aokiji was defeated by Chiu by 1 minute. She is not much better now. Is the gap between myself and the world number 1 really that big? Still leaving. Do you still want to continue? Asked Mihawk. Come again. Gion pursed his mouth tightly and said firmly. Women are such trouble, not cheery at all. Thinking so, Mihawk had no choice but to strike out again. This time, it's not a pure sword intent or swordsmanship competition. It's an all-round kendo duel. The two sword energies of brilliant gold and emerald green opened and closed horizontally and vertically. The orderly and tidy courtyard was instantly full of mess. Deep ravine marks can be seen everywhere. The famous sword Jinpyra in Gion's hand shined brightly. Thousands of resplendent sword chi were swayed. To this, Hawkeye Mihawk has only one move. Swing out together. The green knife light shattered everything. Even if the offensive is still blocked. Gion has no previous setbacks. On the contrary. Advertisement. The confidence in my heart returned. She knows. Even if there is a gap between himself and Hawkeye. But it should not be as huge as she imagined. Just when Gion thought so. Hawkeye Mihawk suddenly burst into flames. The supreme sword Haidao slashed towards Gion with the force of breaking a mountain. Between haste, Gion swung his sword to meet him. However, in the face of Mihawk's powerful lore blow, after all, he was powerless. Her knees bent unconsciously. The delicate high wire is also damaged. Seeing that Gion is about to lose again. At this time. Wow, a figure came with the strong wind. The second knife descended abruptly, touching Haidoye's blade. Boom. Just for a moment, Hawkeye's all-out blow was crushed and defeated by absolute power. His figure flew upside down. It wiped out traces of nearly 100 meters on the ground, and finally stopped. He looked at the man who suddenly appeared, stood on the side of Gion, and shot himself. Hawkeye Mihawk's determined face twitched uncontrollably. What the hell are you doing? Hawkeye Mihawk kept drinking, his voice full of dissatisfaction. I kindly want to take away the troublesome Marine. The results of it, it's okay if you don't appreciate it. How dare you join forces with Marine to FK me? Take the wrong medicine. We are two together. Hawkeye was full of resentment. Things happened that made Mihawk more and more dumbfounded. I saw Chiu not far away flamboyantly ignoring his questioning. The first time he turned his head to look at Momosuke Gion behind him. Baby, are you okay? That guy Mihawk didn't do anything excessive. Don't worry, just say, I'll help you get ahead. Chiu said seriously. Well, listening to Chiu's cordial bow. Gion's nose suddenly became sore. After thinking of being bullied, 0.3 people can stand up for themselves. Her heart could not help but be infinitely moved. For a while, they even forgot the biggest purpose of this trip to find Chiu. Forgot that she came here this time to ask the teacher for a crime. Blah blah. Hawkeye Mihawk 3 steps and 2 steps forward. Look at Chiu, and look at Gion who was almost moved to tears. The expression on Hawkeye's face was instantly wonderful and also infinitely bewildered. It's already unclear about the situation. You guys. Hawkeye was so startled that he couldn't even speak well for a while. Take it easy, Mihawk. Gion is my woman. Chiu smiled slightly. Hawkeye Mihawk, without waiting for him to ask. Yeah. Open black lens bracket. It was a great help. Mihawk close black lens bracket. Cemetery. An ethereal voice sounded out of nowhere in Hawkeye's mind. Hawkeye, quickly. He reacted. This is likely to trigger Chiu's heart voice ability that he doesn't even know about. Just what does it mean to be so helpful? Hawkeye couldn't figure it out. Advertisement Chapter 71 Hawkeye. Women will only affect the speed at which I draw my sword. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Minutes ago, Chiu was busy retreating. Create a matching body for Melee with the new ability of the god of shipwright. Suddenly, there was a clanging outside. Feel the familiar sword intent. Chiu's heart skipped a beat. You don't even need to look to know that Gion is here. He knew that the visitor was not good. Gion must have come here to ask the teacher for his crimes. Just when Chiu was thinking about how to fool her. The duel between Hawkeye and Gion begins. Looking at Gion who was completely suppressed by Hawkeye. Chiu decided to take advantage of the opportunity to come to the long-lost hero to save the beauty. As predicted, after wronging brother Hawkeye and saving Gion. Gion was already completely moved by him. Even the original purpose is forgotten. You. Chiu, what's going on here? This woman is Marine. Hawkeye Mihawk took a deep breath, and finally expressed his inner doubts. I know. What happened to Marine? The old god Chiu asked with a smile. Marine. Pirate. Are you serious? The expression on Hawkeye's face was indescribable. Small. The layout is small. Mihawk, a 40-year single dog like you won't understand. As long as there is love, it doesn't matter what Marine pirates are. The Tao of Chiu Zhongyang. *29. Hawkeye had the urge to vomit blood. What is a 40-year single dog? My mother's womb is 41 so far. Wrong. Suddenly I want to hurt even more. Screw you. Who is in love with you? On the other side, Gion, who finally came to his senses, unceremoniously pushed Chiu away. Talking about disgust. However, that delicate fair face was full of happiness. Looking at the crowd, Chiu and Gion hugged and interacted majestically in front of him. Hawkeye Mahawk only felt that there was a basin of cold dog food pouring into his mouth continuously. It happened that he was full. What is this called? Dare to feel that I was looking for trouble for nothing before, so it's unnecessary. Almost ruined the secret private meeting of this young couple. Think here. The corner of Hawkeye's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Mahawk, why are you looking at me like that? Speaking of which, you are too old, don't be like Shanks, holding a knife all day long. I still need to find a partner after all. Chiu spoke seriously. Hawkeye, with your hardware, if you send out a marriage advertisement, those who want to marry you will probably have to go around the city of water for a week. Chiu added, Hawkeye, although there are many MMPs in my heart, I can't say that I have to be cold. If you really can't find it, how about I introduce it for you? Gion suddenly spoke. Hawkeye, Marine Vice Admiral introducing someone to Shichibukai. I can't thank you enough. Advertisement. The female soldiers in our Marine are not much worse than me. As long as you join Marine, you will have it every day. Gion spoke seriously. Have to. Dare to love and want to pull people. This time, I want to completely pull Hawkeye, who is originally from the same camp, into Marine. If this is true, that's a lot of fun. Open black lens bracket Mahawk joins Marine close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ha 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 close black lens bracket. If Shanks is here, the expression must be very funny. Hawkeye Mahawk is full of black lines on his forehead. How about it, Mahawk, do you want to consider Gion's suggestion? Chiu had an expression that he didn't think it was a big deal to watch the excitement. Do not. Hawkeye Mahawk flatly refused. As early as 20 years ago, I had decided to dedicate my life to kendo. Women only affect the speed at which I draw my sword. Hawkeye opened his mouth faintly. Just like a ruthless swordsman, the posture of being too cold at a high place. See, Chiu blocked Gion from speaking. Don't force it anymore. It's just that I can't help but think in my heart. Mahawk is not close to women at such a young age, so he must be the same as Shanks, there is something wrong with his orientation. Open black lens bracket wait, he didn't really have an affair with Shanks, did he? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket no way close black lens bracket. Hawkeye Mahawk, I at %. A moment of stupefaction. Hawkeye's resolute face suddenly flushed red. Eyebrows are upside down, already extremely angry. Just wanted to trouble Chiu. But Chiu entered the room with his arms around Gion's slender waist. Want to refute, but he was surprised to find that he couldn't speak. For a long time, Hawkeye Mahawk finally recovered from his stunned state. What is this called? That guy Chiu is really. Hawkeye Mahawk was amused. However, I seem to have learned some terrible secret. Could it be that Shanks really doesn't like women? Thinking of Shanks' uncharacteristic enthusiasm for him, Hawkeye nodded abruptly. Stay away from him in the future. This moment. New world thousands of miles away. The red-haired Shanks sneezed for a minute, wanted to cry but had no tears. Why is he messing with me again? In a spacious room. Stare. Chiu and Gion stared at each other. The ambience is very peaceful. Half an hour. Gion pursed his lips and couldn't help but speak. Chiu, is there something you must apologize to me for? What's up? Chiu asked with a sideways glance. Gion is in a hurry. Don't tell me you forgot. What were you doing at the Enies Lobby 2 days ago? Oh, that Chiu was stunned. Advertisement. I remember that it seems that I entered the arrogance mode. What happened to me in the arrogance mode has anything to do with me now. Chiu said seriously. Wow. Gion went crazy. Get started decisively. Knock down Chiu who is playing a rascal. You big liar. Last time you clearly said that even if you were in a different camp, you must have a heart of justice. Why did you turn around and attack Marine again? Do you know that the tsunami you triggered almost wiped out 100,000 sailors? Gion's big eyes were full of tears, and his voice was full of tears. If you do, I will. A finger landed on Gion's lips. Sorry, but you know, at noon, I can't quite contain myself. Besides, I already knew my tsunami would be blocked. Chiu said. You already knew Kuzan was there. Gion was surprised. Certainly. How could the Kuzan guy not be here? Chiu smiled confidently. Why? Gion asked hastily. Immediately. Chiu didn't hide it either. The karmic entanglement between Admiral Aokiji and Straw Hat Robin that I know. And his own speculation about the Enies Lobby incident informed Gion. How come? Kuzan he. Admiral Aokiji. Planned, the Enies Lobby 807 incident. Gion only felt that the world view seemed to be subverted. Wait a moment. Gion seemed to have thought of something. Speaking of which, why do you know so clearly? And that Nico Robin. I remembered it when you said it. I hear you seem to take good care of that Ohara survivor. He even got angry at the crown and became a concubine, blowing up CP9's spandom. Is there such a thing? Gion's sight gradually became dangerous. Rumors, absolute rumors. I just hate spandom, that scum. It's like loathing celestial dragons. If you encounter them, you will never let them go. Chiu hurriedly corrected his expression and corrected his explanation of words. Real. Gion narrowed his narrow eyes slightly. Her jade feet were pulled out from the high heels and raised. The little feet wrapped in delicate high silk slowly fell down. Touch. This is your punishment for the Enies Lobby incident. Gion spoke arrogantly, like a high and mighty queen. Up and down. It's just that Gion's arrogance is destined not to last long. Unknowingly, the event went until 11 o'clock in the morning. The arrogant sun is passive and active. Chiu's body suddenly swelled as a whole. The ensuing sun-like heat made Gion's pretty face twitch slightly. You stepped on me. How arrogant. Gion. Chiu's big hands landed on Gion's shoulders. Then let's have a look. Who is more arrogant? Woo woo woo. Sorry. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Gion begged for mercy. Advertisement Chapter 72 The most chaotic family in history. Garp to find fault. Security. Hawkeye. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Carrera 1 dock. Vestibule. Shocked shouts from people inside the house. In the courtyard outside the house, violent commotion suddenly occurred behind the marine troops. Three swords style. Tornado. The powerful sword wind raged and swept across, causing more than a dozen sea soldiers to fly into the sky. Oh, what happened? Garp picked his nostrils and asked casually. It's Roronoa Zoro, the wanted pirate hunter. Adjutant Bogart reported calmly. Luffy's partner. What a spirited young man. After all, go and try to stop him. Garp spoke with great interest. Yes, yes, Mr. Garp. Kebi and Belumbo, who stood on the left and right like door gods, took the order. At the same time, inside the hut, the members of the Straw Hats who were still immersed in the shock of the Four Emperors' red hair pirates vice captain sensed the commotion caused by Zoro outside. Hey, wait, Zoro, don't do it. Straw Hat Luffy trots out quickly, trying to stop him. At this moment, a blurry figure suddenly sprang out from the slanting stab at an extremely fast speed. Even Luffy couldn't react for a while, and was staggered by his kick. Luffy fought back decisively. Shave. Kebi, who had mastered the six-style shaving, suddenly disappeared in front of Luffy and launched an attack from behind. However, after the battle with CP9, Luffy has a very deep understanding of Marine six styles. Without looking back, he grabbed Kebi's collar and slammed it on the ground. At the same time, on the other side, Belumbo, who was attacking Zoro fiercely with two sabers, was also knocked down with his weapon, and was captured without a fight. You are Kirby. After a while, when I learned that the front was almost as tall as myself. The teenager who also learned Marine's gaudy moves is after the little fat P****** K Kebi he met in East Blue. Straw Hat Luffy once again had an artistic expression on his face. Zoro was also amazed. I can't believe that the once small man has grown so fast. It's like taking drugs or riding a rocket. After a short greeting, Luffy and Zoro flamboyantly ignored Belumbo, who was eagerly waiting to confess his relatives, on the other side, and returned to the hut. Reason. In less than half a minute, Zoro's loud scream suddenly came from the cabin. Marine hero Garp turns out to be Luffy's grandpa. Zoro was dumbfounded when he heard the shocking news. Immediately afterwards, when informed of the Enies Lobby incident, shock Marine Buster call all by himself. The benefactor who rescued them from the desperate situation was the queen of the vice captain of the Four Emperors' red hair pirates. Zoro's eyes instantly widened like copper bells. Once again, I was stupefied with shock. The other side. Hey, little ones, don't be dazed, hurry up and fix the wall. Quote. Garp picked his nostrils, then pointed to the gap in the wall behind him. Mr. Garp, please don't sabotage casually and increase our workload without authorization in the future. Besides, why do you keep breaking through the wall? The members of the professional maintenance team at the G3 base complained. Counting the entire Marine, I am afraid that only Garp's sailors dare to openly complain about their own officers. It's also in Garp's nature. Advertisement. PFF ha 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 ha, because it will be more handsome if you go in like this. Garp grinned broadly. Stop dawdling, hurry up. Yes, we will fix it, but Mr. Garp, you have to work too. Oh, okay. Garp agreed to the request of his subordinates very kindly and readily, picked up a hammer and nails, and started to repair. Speaking of which, Luffy, you seem to have met your dad. Garp opened his mouth while holding his endless booger. Dad? What's a dad? Do I have a dad? In response to Garp's question, the cute Straw Hat Luffy responded with three silly rhetorical questions. All the Straw Hat crew in the hut and the sailors in the courtyard, fall, together. After all, someone who can ask such a question either had a miserable childhood, or was an idiot with no brains. Apparently, Straw Hat Luffy is the latter. What? That guy hasn't revealed his identity to you yet, he's already seen you off in Rog Town. Garp said. Rog Town. Is Luffy's dad there too? I also want to know who Luffy's dad is. Zoro, Sanji and Nami spoke one after another. Your father's name is Monkey D. Dragon, he is a revolutionary. Garp picked his nostrils and said to himself. As Garp's voice fell, the identity of Luffy's father was revealed in secret, and the entire courtyard of the cottage once again fell into absolute silence. Next second. The uproar of the people instantly shook the sky and soared to the sky. Luffy's dad turned out to be that big guy. The leader of the revolutionary army, Dragon. The world's biggest criminal dragon is Luffy's dad. This is the first time I've heard of such a thing. Nami, Zoro, Sanji and others all held their heads and screamed in unison. The other side. Similarly, the sailors who heard the news for the first time were not much better. Mr. Garp's son turned out to be that dragon. That dragon turned out to be the son of Vice Admiral Garp. Does the revolutionary dragon have any sons? Grandpa is a marine hero, son is a revolutionary army, grandson is a pirate. What is going on with this family? I've never seen such a chaotic family line. The sailors gathered in the courtyard were blown up by the bomb Garp casually dropped. Ah, it's really not good to say this. Garp belatedly realized this and rubbed his head. PFF'd ha 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 ha, then of course just pretend I didn't say it. Garp casually wanted to expose it. After a moment of silence. Oh, how could such a thing be taken back so easily? All the sea soldiers complained. Garp ignored it. 3 or 2 strokes to complete the wall repair. Luffy, since you are my grandson, I will not arrest you on this island, rest assured. 17. After dropping the last sentence, Garp led his marine troop into action again. However, he did not leave the number 1 dock. Instead, go directly to the deeper depths. Watch where Garp is going. Robin couldn't help but lose color. Not good. Advertisement. Luffy's grandpa is going to trouble that man. Our benefactor, Mr. Red Hair Pirate's deputy captain is about to be found. That hero Vice Admiral won't shoot us for Luffy's sake, but Chopper, Nami, Sanji and others who reacted after knowing it also changed their expressions drastically. Wait, Grandpa. Straw Hat Luffy catapulted to the start, and even caught up with his grandpa. Hanging on Garp like a koala. Grandpa, I will never let you do anything to Shanks, partner, Bekfu. Straw Hat Luffy said imposingly. Beckman, what a mess. It's not him that this old man is looking for. Garp spoke casually. Grabbing the straw hat, Luffy sent out another iron fist of love. Ben Beckman. Luffy, did he misunderstand something? The expression on Robin's pretty face was a little confused. It was half a beat slow, and then quickly followed. Not long. Quickly, Garp and his party came to the backyard of No. 1 dock. Looking at the mess all over the place. Traces of swords can be seen everywhere. Even Bogart, Garp's adjutant, couldn't help but be moved. This is the sword intent retained by a strong swordsman at the level of a great swordsman. Bogart screamed. Nani, great swordsman. As expected, Gion Vice Admiral has already come. And I have already fought against that man first. What about Gion Vice Admiral? How is Goddess Gion doing now? Could it be that he has been captured by that Li Jiao man? Oh, do not. The sailors of the G3 branch under Garp could not help but howl with nervousness and worry. Some radicals are already sharpening their knives and preparing to rush to save people. Listen to the commotion outside the courtyard. Gion Chaolian, who was playing poker with Chiu at the moment, was visibly flustered. Don't wait to say anything. His body and mind were once again domineeringly occupied by Chiu. Don't give her a chance to be distracted. At the same time. Just when the sailors of G3 were about to step into the courtyard. Clang. A sharp sword intent suddenly rushed up. An invisible sword swept across the courtyard entrance. Leave a deep mark on the ground. The terrifying sharpness caused the sailors rushing to the front to turn pale in horror and retreat again and again. At this time, however, there is one person who does not retreat and advances. Roronoa Zoro, a straw hat swordsman with green algae hair, walked out of the crowd with agitated emotions and stood at the forefront. There was an astonishing look in his eyes. It really is you, Hawkeye. Zoro screamed in shock and excitement. From here, one side will pass. Hawkeye Mihawk held the strongest black sword Yaya, and spoke calmly. Advertisement Chapter 73 Zoro and Hawkeye. Another challenge after half a year. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. From here, one side will pass. The world's number 1 swordsman Mihawk Hawkeye held a black knife, and Hawkeye spoke calmly. Stand alone against the elite troops led by marine heroes. Even after eating a mouthful of dog food. However, as a friend and brother, he naturally still has to help and check at the moment. Don't let the marines disturb Chiyu's work. Hawkeye. It turned out to be that Hawkeye. Mihawk, why is he here? Hey, Hawkeye, please correct your position. As the 7 warlords of the sea, do you want to start a war with our marines? If so, we have reason to revoke your Shichibukai status. Shocked, the sailors of G3 shouted angrily. The only response to them was the kingming of the strongest Heidao Yi. Between heaven and earth, the sword is full of spirit. The few sailors walking in the forefront felt great fear for no reason. Intuition told them that if they continued to take a step forward, they would be cut open. When all the sailors stopped, a man still stepped forward. Knowing that the sword ahead is the best in the world. Still stepping forward firmly. Hey, Roronoa, don't be impulsive. Double-chin teenager Belumbo is at a loss for reminders. Roronoa Zoro, the swordsman of the Straw Hats, seems unheard of. Step by step, step forward firmly and face the number 1 in the world. The 607 twinkling in his eyes is not fear and panic. It's about extreme exhilaration, excitement, and eagerness to try. Half year ago, at Barati, East Blue Sea Restaurant. For the first time, Zoro met with the number 1 in the world he was thinking of. In order to fulfill the agreement with her childhood sweetheart Kuina. In order for Kuina in heaven to see him, together with her, become number 1 in the world. Zoro challenged Mihawk without hesitation. It can be said that newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. Zoro also reaped the first big fiasco in his life. Nearly dying. Survived. Then came to the Grand Line from East Blue with Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. Come to this water capital from Alabasta. This short period of half a year. Zoro feels that his improvement is much greater than in the past few years. Alabasta battles dice fruit ability DAS bonus. He grasped the true meaning of kendo taught to him by his teacher Koshiro. Yu Jonji took a big step and officially stepped into the ranks of iron-slaying swordsmen. A few days ago, the Enies Lobby event. The battle with CP9 Superman Kaku whose strength is 2000 and up. He took another big step on the path of slaying iron swordsmen. The last 9 swords flow Ashura can be called a stunt. It brings great confidence to Zoro. Now, when his kendo has made great progress. The CJDI world number 1 that once gave him a disastrous defeat reappeared. Advertisement. What luck. What a coincidence. It was like an opportunity created by God for him. It's almost like God is saying that you are ready and you can challenge for the number 1 throne in the world. Without the slightest hesitation, Zoro decided to challenge the world number 1 again. His blood is boiling. His heart was beating for joy. Even the 3 knives on his waist, Hidao Yiwen, 3rd generation Gush, and Yukizo were also cheering and responding to his expectations. Gudong, looking at Zoro and Hawkeye who were about to meet. The Adam's apples of the sailors walking ahead, such as Belumbo, couldn't help but roll with difficulty. Look nervous. PFF'd ha ha ha, what's the matter, suddenly stopped leaving. Garp, who was being stalked by Straw Hat Luffy, finally arrived. On his right leg, hanging a boy in a straw hat with a stretched body. While holding Grandpa Garp's thigh with both hands. Straw Hat Luffy's feet were tightly wrapped around a towering giant tree tens of meters away. The picture looks a little funny. Kakaka, Vice Admiral Garp, it's not that we won't go, it's just that. Said the sailors to give way. Oh no, that's Hawkeye. Garp nodded knowingly. According to our intelligence, the man from the Red Hair Pirates did leave with Hawkeye. Appearing here now is also expected. Adjutant Bogart spoke calmly. His right hand also unconsciously landed on the long knife at his waist. As a swordsman. There is nothing wrong with wanting to challenge the number 1 in the world. But he came a little late. The first challenger has appeared. Even if he wants to challenge, he has to line up first. Hey, Luffy, are you really all right? Can the body hold up? Everyone from Straw Hat crew arrived one after another. By the way, why did that green algae head go crazy all of a sudden? He ran away all of a sudden. Sanji pouted. Ah, Zoro is there. Chopper, who was about to offer a bounty of 50 berry, saw Zoro in the courtyard not far away, his eyes lit up. Hey, it's real. Why is that man here? Frankie and the others widened their eyes in shock. That man is the world's number 1 swordsman who appeared in Barati before. Hawkeye Mahawk, Nami, who had witnessed the incident at the sea restaurant Barati, could not help but turn pale. Subconsciously, she covered her red lips with her slender hand. As Zoro ready to challenge that Hawkeye, Robin guessed. No. Advertisement. Zoro will die. The Sniper King Usopp who followed quietly shouted in horror. Zoro will die. Why? Chopper almost cried. Because Zoro had already challenged that Hawkeye half a year ago, and the wound in front of him was left by Hawkeye's knife. At that time, I was lucky enough to survive. If it happened again, I would really die. Usopp spoke in panic. No, I don't want it. Zoro don't die. Tears welled up in Chopper's eyes when he suddenly learned of this past. Robin was also able to know the origin of Sanji and Nami's frightened expressions at the moment. Wow Luffy, hurry up and stop Zoro. At the moment of life and death, Usopp was too lazy to pretend to be a Sniper King, and spoke directly in his own voice. Luffy, the straw hat hugging Garp's thigh, blinked wide. Sniper, how do you know that Zoro fought that Hawkeye before? This, of course it was calculated. Usopp hastily lied. I see. Straw Hat Luffy nodded, accepting Usopp's outrageous approach. Next second, Straw Hat Luffy hugged Garp's thigh harder and harder. The sudden pull almost made Garp stagger and fall to the ground. Idiot Luffy, what are you doing? Garp mercilessly gave Luffy a shudder in the head. It hurts. Grandpa, don't move. Straw Hat Luffy fought back the pain. The feet hanging on the tree suddenly exerted force. Boom, accompanied by a slight shaking of the earth. A towering giant tree tens of meters high rose up with a large piece of land. Fell between Zoro and Hawkeye who were facing each other in the courtyard. To break the deadlock, let Zoro give up the challenge, Luffy can't say it anyway. He can only use his own method, trying to make the house sober. It's a pity that Zoro is already on top. After defeating the mighty enemy Kaku not long ago, his self-confidence reached its peak. He thinks that he is very good now. Swish swish swish. Zoro swung his knife. Dazzling knife light flashed. The towering tree tens of meters high broke into 3 pieces under Zoro's slash. Don't wait for the landing. The strongest black knife knight across the air. The 3 large trees exploded into countless sawdust. Zoro was taken aback. Soon it was calm again. He pointed the sword at Mahawk. Hawkeye Mahawk, I'm going to challenge you again. Zoro spoke firmly. Can. Mahawk responded calmly. Advertisement Chapter 74 Hero Garp and Arrogant Chiu, which one is stronger and weaker? Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. I'm going to challenge you again. See you again after half a year. Zoro initiated a rechallenge application to Hawkeye Mihawk. To this, Hawkeye didn't refuse, even if it is a calm answer. Encounter with Straw Hat crew half a year ago. Compared to the funny Straw Hat Kid Shanks had mentioned to him. The Zoro who plays the three-sword style is even more impressive to Hawkeye. In the beginning, Zoro was overwhelmed with challenges. Mihawk didn't care one bit. He even took out the smallest knife on his body to humiliate him. But later, Zoro managed to earn his respect with his sword heart. The sentence, "The scar on the back is the shame of a swordsman," made Hawkeye completely approve of him. Since then, Hawkeye Mihawk knows it. This young swordsman has the qualifications to become his own rival in the future. Hawkeye was not worried about this, but was very excited about it. He even let Zoro try to overtake him. See you in half a year. Now that we have met, Hawkeye wanted to see too. How much has the piece of jade in the rough that I have been looking at grown? Come on, Roronoa. Hawkeye calmly stopped drinking. Zoro took a deep breath. One gang Liro. The muscles in his right arm bulged. Gang Li Luo. The muscles in his left arm swelled. The strength is raised to the limit that can be achieved at this stage. Next second, even more amazing pictures happened. Under the staring eyes of people, a green algae head grows from each of Zoro's left and right shoulders. The arms also changed from 2 to 6. The original 3 swords naturally became 9 swords. Hey, look, what the hell is that? The double-chin Barumium suddenly screamed. That pirate hunter, he, how did he do it? Am I dazzled? 3 heads and 6 arms. Is that Ashura? The faces of the sailors in the G3 branch all had ghost-like expressions on their faces. Wow Zoro. Zoro turned into a monster. Chopper yelled in fear. Green algae head turned into 3 green algae head. Sanji was dumbfounded. Amazing. Straw Hat Luffy's eyes shine. PFF ha. Interesting. He was able to do this with his own fighting energy. Luffy, you have great potential as a crew member. Do you want to consider sending them to Grandpa's ship? The well-informed Garp laughed appreciatively. For Zoro in such a fighting state, he had seen it on the sea before. Don't want. Absolutely not. Straw Hat Luffy sternly refused on the spot. Oh, it seems that Zoro has also become stronger during this time. That Ashura-like posture is really powerful. Perhaps, it may not be possible if it really works. The panic in Usopp, the Sniper King, dissipated a little. The adjutant Bogart not far away heard his words and just shook his head. The recent young people are too lacking in awe of the number 1 in the world. The weight of being number 1 in the world standing at the top of the sword is not something a boy under 20 can bear. Accompanied by the shock and uproar of the people. Zoro, in the form of Ashura with 3 heads and 6 arms, attacks. Advertisement. Ghost Chi, 9 swords style, Ashura, 1 mist silver. Against opponents like Mihawk, Zoro didn't hesitate to show off his current strongest move. The 9 swords style that once defeated CP9 Superman Kaku burst here. That figure is intimidating as Ashura pressed down on Hawkeye with a powerful momentum. This is another interesting move. There was a slight arc at the corner of Mihawk's mouth. For Zoro's fancy moves, I am also very interested in the imposing name of the move. Because in terms of naming moves, he really has no talent. Facing the opponents who came to challenge him, he has always settled the battle with a flat A. Maybe when I will come to pick up some cool move names. While thinking, Ashura form Zoro has already approached aggressively. Just then, Mihawk's knees are slightly bent. Body ejection, and finally attack. There is no stalemate. In an instant, Hawkeye and Zoro crossed. Hawkeye Mihawk calmly withdrew the knife. Zoro's body froze, his 3 heads and 6 arms turned into a dream bubble and disappeared. Kaka, boom. In his right hand, Shui Zhou, one of the 50 craftsmen of Liang Kuei Dao, made an overwhelmed clicking sound. Then it broke suddenly. Fortunately, He Daoyi and 3rd generation Gush are still strong. Zoro sighed and sheathed the knife. It's still defeated. Sure enough, I'm still too far behind. Zoro's inflated self-confidence took a hit and he returned to normal. Thinking of his previous ambition to defeat Hawkeye, Zoro couldn't help but develop himself. He turned around and opened his arms. Just like half a year ago. Prepare to accept the loser's ending. But this time, Hawkeye Mihawk did not move. The same thing once is enough. And also, the one above you still have time to take care of my affairs. Do your own thing seriously. Besides, I'm blocking Marine for you now. Mihawk, who heard Chiu complaining, was secretly annoyed. Watch the rich expression on the face of the usually cold and expressionless Mihawk. Zoro couldn't help but look suspicious. He couldn't help thinking, maybe his previous 9 swordsmanship also caused some damage to Hawkeye. It's just that Hawkeye has been holding back. Seeing through Zoro's little thoughts, the corners of Hawkeye's mouth twitched. Say nothing. Don't want to say anything. PFF ha. Hearty laughter came. Marine legend Vice Admiral Hero Garp carelessly walked into the sword-like courtyard. Facing the sword intent that is enough to make the skin of ordinary people hurt. Garp was still holding his booger in the usual way. Come to Mihawk the Eagle Eye. So, Hawkeye boy, do you also want to try the old man's iron fist of love? Garp is straight to the point. Hockey's opening. Look like if you dare to block the way, I will beat you. On fencing, the Mihawk is really far ahead. It is a well-deserved number 1 in the world. Seeking flowers, 0. But if it is about comprehensive combat power, there is still a distance between him and Garp, who stands at the top of the world. If there is an all-out war, advertisement, he probably won't be the last one standing. But, Hawkeye looked up at the scorching sun in the sky. The time is just right. I don't know who is stronger or weaker when the marine hero and Chiu in the strongest form are facing each other. Rao is eagle-eyed, but he can't help but feel a little curious in his heart. Mr. Garp. The adjutant Bogart also noticed this bad timing and hurried forward to block it. This is a bad time, Mr. Garp. Would you like to be patient for a while? Thinking of Admiral Aokiji, who was blown away in a minute, Bogart couldn't help but be terrified. PFF, ha 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 ha, this kind of thing doesn't matter at all. It doesn't make much sense if you can't beat him when he's at his strongest. Garp hockey's opening. Bogart's heart skipped a beat. Silently sweating for the capital of water. If it really starts at this point in time. Point 0. The capital of water may not last long. Precautionary measures must be taken to evacuate the crowd in advance. Also report to the headquarters, lest Marshal Sengoku go into a rage. Do not. This is definitely going to be furious. Just when Bogart and others were thinking so negatively. Clatter. The crisp sound of high heels hitting the ground came from the small building. Accompanied by footsteps, a valiant and heroic figure walked out of the small building. Gion, Vice Admiral. It's Momosugi-sama. Great. Goddess Gion is safe and sound. The sailors of the G3 branch all shouted excitedly. Cough cough. Gion covered his mouth and coughed lightly. Take a deep breath. Completed a difficult swallowing action. Get rid of all strangeness and discomfort. Return to the usual noble and glamorous. Mr. Garp, it's over on my side, let's go. Gion spoke calmly. Gion girl. Garp frowned slightly, but when you meet Gion's firm little eyes. In the end Garp gave in. I know, little ones, retreat. With Garp's command, the crisis of destruction in the water capital has been lifted. Bogart and others breathed a sigh of relief. Ordinary sailors didn't think too much about it. Anyway, their goddess Gion has returned, safely. Watching the departure of the marine troop, the boatmen of Straw Hat crew and Carrera all let out a sigh of relief. Hey, Beckman, if you're here, come out quickly. The Straw Hat Luffy, who had regained his strength, suddenly waved happily to Shallow. Luffy really misunderstood something, Robin thought. Looked at the noon sky. Robin felt it. Now is not a good time to meet. Even if we want to see each other, it is best to wait after noon. Think here. Robin hurried forward and persuaded the Straw Hat Luffy with a few words. Okay. Straw Hat Luffy accepts Robin's offer. Everyone, get ready, let's start the banquet. And, advertisement chapter 75 Usopp's gift. Usopp wept with joy. The Straw Hats were shocked. Open black lens bracket, subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The sun was setting. The afterglow of the setting sun receded. Night fell. Carrera Pool Plaza. A roaring bonfire was burning. Light up half the night sky. Tonight, the lights are brilliant. People gathered together, singing and dancing. The luxurious Carrera Pool ballroom is filled with joy. When the pirate Straw Hat crew held a celebration banquet, the news spread that the entire consumption was paid for by Lu Gongzi. The residents of the entire water city were all moved by the news and came here in droves. Participate in this free carnival worth 100 million. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Ah, ow. Chiu, who had slept all afternoon, yawned and went straight downstairs. Yo, Mahawk, you're still waiting for me. Chiu enthusiastically greeted Hawkeye in the hall. No response. Ah, Chiu strode forward. Don't be tense tonight, let's enjoy the banquet. Forget what I say, you go by yourself. Hawkeye Mahawk said without opening his eyes. Chiu frowned slightly. As long as Hawkeye couldn't bear to celebrate with the little ghosts, he no longer insisted. 937 inches, all right. I'll have someone bring you some food and drink later. After saying that, Chiu stretched his waist and walked towards the swimming pool banquet hall. After 10 years in the Red Hair Pirates, he naturally does not have the baggage of Hawkeye's idol. As long as it is a banquet, there is no reason to refuse. Pool banquet hall. The lights are brilliant. The cheers and joy of the people became the only thing here. The arrival of Chiu did not cause much sensation. At this moment, everyone is immersed in the joyous atmosphere of the banquet. In contrast, Chiu, who had completely restrained his breath, was not so conspicuous. To this, Chiu happened to be so happy too. After all, the banquet should be celebrated together. It would not be beautiful if it was because of him that he was cold and reserved. Ha 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 ha. Little brother, your drinking capacity is really strong. So many of us can't drink you. Drinking at the banquet, I would like to call you the strongest. The Frankie family and the Carrera boatmen who were drinking with Chiu had just finished speaking, and fell to the ground the next second. He was already drunk by Chiu. I'm done with it. Zoro, the drunkard, recognized by the Straw Hats, was also defeated after several confrontations, and he couldn't bear it. Unknowingly, the corner where Chiu was located also became the center of attention of the huge swimming pool venue. People no longer focus on Straw Hat crew, but are gradually attracted by Chiu. The line of sight increases. No matter how low-key Chiu is. It is also impossible to cover up the light that soars to the sky. 1 hour after Chiu perfectly integrated into the venue. A girl with long black hair and straight hair recognized him first. That's Mr. Chiu. Robin subconsciously covered her red lips with her slender hand. I really made a big mistake. I didn't even recognize my benefactor at the first time. Robin blamed himself. Advertisement. The Enies Lobby encounter 2 days ago. Appearing in front of Robin was Chiu in the posture of an arrogant macho. This also made Robin preconceive that it was Chiu's original posture. Start with the banquet. She has been paying attention to the big hunk Chiu. So much so that Chiu, who appeared in an ordinary posture, was ignored. Although she was also confused, she didn't pay much attention to it. Until now, when really staring at Chiu who perfectly blended into the banquet. Robin finally found out. It turned out that my benefactor was by my side. It turned out that Chiu had already arrived. Yes, that's Mr. Chi's real attitude. It's the same with the portraits on the arrest warrants I've seen before. I'm so stupid, Robin whispered remorse. With long legs, he arrived in front of Chiu in 2 or 3 steps. Hi, Robin, is Zhang Shichi drinking? Zoro belched, looking confused. Already drunk. Robin nodded politely. Then the eyes fell on Chiu again without blinking. If possible, I'll call that long nose over. Chiu points to Usopp who sings loudly on the bonfire stand. Yes, Robin complied obediently. Not long. What is it, Robin? My song of the Sniper King is about to reach its climax. Masked Usopp wondered. Don't ask, come here quickly. Robin urged. Bring Usopp to Chiu. Mr. Chiu, Usopp is here. Robin rode. Well, Chiu nodded, fumbled behind for a moment. He took out a star cloak and threw it to a bewildered Usopp. Go ahead, your father asked me to bring you this. Chiu spoke casually. Allah, the expression under Usopp's mask became more and more confused and puzzled. My father asked you to bring it to me. He looked at the star cloak in his hand. The brain started to run wildly. Usopp remembered his first encounter with Luffy. Seeing him for the first time, an idiot like Luffy recognized him. Because someone had mentioned himself countless times in his ear. That's his daddy Usopp. It was that time. Usopp learned a shocking truth. The fact that his father was in the 4 Emperors' Red Hair Pirates. Dad is from the Red Hair Pirates. So the person in front of me who brought his father's stuff is. It took a minute. Finally sorted out the context of everything. Usopp's face under the mask was instantly filled with utter shock. Rololo. Robin, this. Could it be that this person is just? Yes, this is Mr. Chiu, the deputy captain of the Red Hair Pirates who saved us. Robin smiled and nodded affirmatively. Advertisement. Alas, but what I saw that day, it felt completely different. Usopp was stunned. On the day of the Enies Lobby event. He is one of the few people besides Buster Call Marine who witnessed the whole process with his own eyes. He sees it clearly. The person who liberated Robin and defeated Admiral and Buster Call was obviously a man with muscles like a dragon. But although the Chiu in front of him was tall, he was far from reaching the level of height he remembered. The difference is fully doubled. I know your confusion, but don't doubt, this is Mr. Chiu himself. Robin spoke seriously. With Robin's guarantee, Usopp finally accepted the setting of a macho man becoming a handsome man. Really, thank you so much. Usopp tightly hugged the star cloak in his hand, and thanked Chiu loudly. I'm just helping my partner with something. No thanks. It's you, boy, your father has always been proud of you, and you should also respond to his expectations. Don't forget about the so-called face. Chiu shook his head and didn't continue to say more. For Usopp's conflict with Straw Hat Crew. Of course he is clear. But there is no need for him to mention it here. When Usopp is willing to let go of his so-called face, it will be considered real growth. Hey, Sniper King. Straw Hat Luffy arrives swinging like a monkey. Sniper King, come back quickly and continue singing the sniper song. The cute little chopper, who is about to offer a reward of 50 berry, trots over. Usopp looks a little weird. Go and see. Nami and Sanji also stood up. Sniper King, what's wrong with you? This is a banquet. A banquet, why are you crying? Straw Hat Luffy laughed and slapped Usopp on the back. I am happy. For so many years, it's the first time I've received a gift from my dad. Usopp broke down in tears. Sniper King's father. 0.0. A gift is here. Sanji, Nami, and Chopper all widened their eyes in shock. Glances around, looking for someone who might be Usopp's dad. At last, Nami's eyes fell on Chiu, who was the most likely and least likely. Look at Chiu, then look at Usopp. One is handsome, the other is NCE. Probably not. Nami was a little dumbfounded. Nami, don't be too rude. Robin saw Nami's small thoughts, and quickly explained before she spoke. Mr. Chiu is just helping people bring gifts to Mr. Longnose. I see. Nami et al. Wait a moment. Roloro. Robin, you said Chiu earlier. Nami's beautiful eyes suddenly widened to the limit. Not just Nami. Except for the Straw Hat Luffy and the sleeping Zoro, everyone's eyes were wide open. Because they had already heard the name from Robin. He is the first officer of the Red Hair Pirates, our benefactor. Alas. Advertisement Chapter 76. The Emperor is by my side. The audience is boiling. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Chiu. This moment. The name that came out of Robin's mouth. Everyone present was dumbfounded. The people of Straw Hat Crew, the Frankie family and the Carrera boatmen who came after hearing the news. Everyone in the arena is like clay sculptures and wood sculptures, unable to move. All the faces were filled with extreme shock and surprise that couldn't be restrained. The emotion called shock emerged continuously from the bottom of their hearts. Occupy and dominate their whole body and mind. 4 Emperor's Red Hair Pirates Deputy Captain Chiu. A bounty of 3.3 billion berries. Big pirates come together. The name of the benefactor who saved them from Enies Lobby buster call is Chiu. A living world powerhouse suddenly appeared in front of their eyes. Even had a drink with them. Over a drink. What luck. What an honor again. It's like smoke from the ancestral grave. This moment, after learning that there is a big man standing at the apex of the world beside him. Those who had the honor to have a wine fight with Chiu before were all excited and ebullient. 4 Emperor's Red Hair Pirates Deputy Captain. The uncrowned king of the Grand Line. The 5th Emperor who can be tied with the 4 Emperors. A man who is qualified to compete for the status of the world's strongest. I drank with such a big man before. Ha 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 ha. This bull, lousy can boast for 100 years. 29. This moment, when Chiu's identity was revealed. The entire audience was shocked to the point of boiling. Everyone present here at the moment. Only Robin and Ace Bagu met Chiu beforehand. Others have never seen his true face these days. But about Chiu's identity. After Garp came by during the day-to-day, people already know it. That drives going merry. It was the vice captain of the 4 Emperor's Red Hair Pirates who rescued the Straw Hat Crew from the Marine Buster Call with ease. Even people who don't know this character well, under the influence of this half-day this afternoon. And finally know what kind of big shot that is. Although he is the vice captain, he has a terrifying power no less than that of the captain. No doubt, this is the existence at the top of the pyramid of the sea. For them who live in the water capital all year round. To be able to meet a big shot of this level is simply a rare event in 100 years. What excites them even more? As a big man standing at the top, Chiu has no pretensions. Even with the weak and low-level people like them, they still have a good time drinking and talking. How kind is this? Advertisement. Master Chiu, I offer you a toast. Mr. Chiu, I will do it first as a respect. Dozens of people toasted together. Thank you very much, Lord Chiu, thanks to you, we still have our elder brother to be able to evacuate from Enies Lobby safely. Yeah, it's all thanks to Chisheng Marine Tooling. Otherwise, we will not return so smoothly. The Frankies all bowed and saluted. Mr. Chiu, please give me an autograph. I want to keep it as a family heirloom. Mr. Chiu, let's take a photo together. Carrera's boatman turned on the star-chasing mode. It seems that Chiu is not a big pirate, but a star. In fact it is. In the hearts of everyone in the field. Chiu who rescued them from Marine Buster Call is their hero. The crowd in the banquet hall was excited, seeing to be on the verge of losing control. Ace Bagu, the boss of Carrera, finally couldn't sit still. Hurry up to maintain order. Under the severe threat of deduction of wages by the boss. The head was hot, and the people who turned into fanatical star fans finally calmed down. Even though he was reluctant to give up, he still silently obeyed the order and waited aside. Leave room for Chiu and Straw Hat Crew for now. Shanks them. Where is the mate of the Red Hair Pirates? I don't think I saw Beckman. Straw Hat Luffy finally stopped being sluggish, but spoke with a cute face. So far, Luffy's little brain is still in a daze. I don't know who it is that everyone has been talking about since just now. Always idiotic and natural, he is still stubborn, which means that the Beckman he knows is here. Listening to the stupid appearance of his own captain. Nami, Sanji and others, who were still in shock, couldn't help but fell to the ground in shock. Robin's hands intertwined. The flower fruit ability activates. Fix Luffy's head and sight on Chiu. Luffy, what you see now is the Red Hair Pirate's mate. Robin introduced. Alas, so it wasn't Beckman. Straw Hat Luffy finally reacted belatedly. Dwang. A dainty little powder fist landed on Luffy's little head. When even playing a big package of special effects with Garp during the day. This is the agent of the Straw Hat Navigators to the captain. Luffy, you idiot, didn't I tell you already? Nami looked like he hated iron but not steel. After teaching Luffy a lesson. Nami quickly changed into her usual bright smile. She stepped forward and sat down beside Chiu. I'm sorry, Master Chiu, my captain may have a serious illness here. Nami pointed to the head. Advertisement. Also ask your lord to have a lot, don't care about him. Nami smiled apologetically while helping Chiu pour wine, toast, all in one go. Don't be nervous, I didn't care about it at all, I've heard Shanks say it thousands of times about the Straw Hat Boy. Chiu smiled indifferently. No less is known about Straw Hat Luffy's natural idiot disposition than Nami at all. By the way, Nami, you guys just came down from Sky Island not long ago. Chiu suddenly spoke. Nami nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Mr. Chiu, how did you know? Robin naturally sat down on the other side of Chiu while asking. Oh no, looking at Chiu, who was hugged left and right, and was actively approached by the two goddesses at the same time. Sanji couldn't help envious Jill turning purple. The bold idea of wanting to duel with Chiu couldn't help but arise in his heart. However, consider the Enies Lobby event of the day. The shocking scene of Chiu crushing Marine Admiral in 1 minute, smashing the ice-covered ground with one punch. Sanji's whole person suddenly became listless. Mr. Chiu, have you been to Sky Island too? The little cutie chopper stepped forward. Ah, just went to 550 just the other day. Chiu stroked the furry chopper. Then Master Chiu, you must have heard the golden bells chime. The bells of the golden clock tower are almost the most beautiful sound in the world. Both Nami and Robin expressed endless admiration. Not only did I hear the golden bell, the enthusiastic people of Sky Island even gave me a golden pillar. Chiu smiled. Nami instinctively reacted when he heard the word gold. Golden pillar. Yes, according to Ganfort, they originally wanted to give you that golden pillar as a thank you gift. It turned out that you were lucky and just ran away. Chiu said as if pointing something. Listening to Chiu's truth, Nami felt a rumble in his head, as if struck by a thunderbolt. A gift from everyone at Sky Island before leaving. Ah, is it the cannon wrapped in cloth? Chopper reacted. Nani, are those actually the pillars of the golden bell? Straw Hat Luffy has a silly face. Master Chiu, may I ask, how much is that golden pillar worth? Nami felt his heart was bleeding. Well, I don't have the specifics, but it's easy to sell for 300 billion Baileys. Chiu said casually. Nami cried. Snapped. She slapped her thigh suddenly. Zoro sat up in pain like a dead body, gasping for air. Luffy, you big idiot. You give me back my 300 billion. Nami went crazy. Advertisement Chapter 77 Zoro is stunned. Chi of Straw Hat Pirates. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Sorry. Really sorry. I didn't know it was a golden pillar. Help. Nami is going to kill someone. Straw Hat Luffy's joyful shouts echoed over the pool banquet hall. Look at the Straw Hat Luffy who is being chased by Nami. Everyone in the venue tacitly looked at each other and laughed. Meanwhile, Zoro, who was woken up by Nami's slap, was still gasping for breath. Damn it, who was that B****** D from before, who dared to attack me? Zoro cursed. What did you say? Chlorella head. How dare you scold Ms. Nami? Sanji's eyes breathed fire. Okay, you two. Two white slender hands separated Zoro and Sanji who were facing each other. Roronoa boy, have a drink. Chiu handed Zoro a wine glass. Ah, thank you. Zoro took it. Gudong drank it all in one gulp. He snorted softly. All the unhappiness disappeared. Brother, drinking with you is really fun. Besides, looking at you, I always have a feeling of deja vu. By the way, have we met somewhere? Zoro asked in a daze. I always feel that Chiu's face is somewhat familiar. He seems to have seen it somewhere. And it was when he was a pirate bounty hunter before joining the Straw Hats. Zoro. Looking at Zoro, who was still in a state of uneasiness, the cute little Chopper tugged at the corner of his clothes in fright. Ha, what's the matter? Chopper, do you want to hold it high? Zoro, who loves Chopper the most, lifts Chopper above his head like coaxing a child. Ha, no. Chopper wanted to explain, but for a while, he was too comfortable to speak. I haven't even reacted yet. It's outrageously dull, Chlorella. Sanji folded his arms, saying that the old god was there. What did you say? Zoro squinted at Sanji. In the end, Robin couldn't stand it. I had no choice but to introduce. Zoro, this is Mr. Chiu. Hearing this, Zoro froze while holding the chopper. His mind, which had been paralyzed by a large amount of alcohol, gradually cleared and functioned. Chiu, Zoro murmured unconsciously. Cemetery. His eyes suddenly opened wide. The mouth is open to the limit. He finally remembered. I remembered the source of that familiarity. He was in the early stages of becoming a pirate hunter more than a year ago. I have seen the current reward rankings in this world in the Bounty Guild. The fifth person following the 4 Sea Emperors is Chiu, who is called the uncrowned emperor. I at %. Zoro yelled incoherently. He stood up abruptly. Advertisement. The whole person was completely sober from the drunken state in an instant. The gaze that looked at Chiu beside her was no longer as casual as before. This is also natural. Suddenly, I learned that the man who was fighting with me for drinking turned out to be a big shot at the top of the world. It is impossible for anyone to completely calm down. Thank you very much for your rescue. Zoro thanked him stiffly. Chiu waved his hand nonchalantly. Thank you, let's avoid it. My trip was originally entrusted by Shanks to take care of you. Besides, nothing. Keep drinking, Roronoa boy. Chiu raised his glass again. There was a flattered look on Zoro's face. After drinking 3 glasses of wine in a row, only then did his turbulent mood calm down a little. Looking at Chiu in front of him. Subconsciously, Zoro thought of the knife he saw on the day of the Enies Lobby incident. Immediately my heart itched and my hands itch. Scratching his ears and cheeks like a child. What's the matter, Roronoa? Just say what you want. Chiu saw through Zoro's hesitancy to speak. Actually, I want to. That day I saw Mr. S astonishing and stunning knife. So please, Mr. Chiu, don't hesitate to teach me a thing or two. Sincere request from Zoro. He had just challenged Hawkeye during the day and suffered a disastrous defeat. At this moment, he challenged Chiu again. I don't know whether to say that he is drifting, or he is really crazy. Following Zoro's voice fell, the atmosphere in the arena was stagnant again. Ah, let me go. Chloral ahead, are you crazy? Sanji scolded. Yeah, Zoro, don't be impulsive. Furthermore, Mr. Chiu is our benefactor. It's really rude of you to say that. Chopper was teary. Sorry, Mr. Chiu, please. Without waiting for Robin to finish his sentence. Haha, yes, Chiu responded with a big laugh. Immediately the conversation changed. It's just that you're not alone. Chiu spoke seriously. Okay, Zoro and the others were puzzled. This time, all 8 of you Straw Hat Pirates are together. I want to make a complete assessment of the comprehensive strength of all of you. When we go back, we can tell Shanks and them no. Chiu smiled. Oh, alas, although I panicked a lot. But Chiu had already spoken. Straw Hat crew naturally has no reason to refuse. Nami who chased and killed Luffy and the Captain Luffy who was hunted and killed have also quietly returned to the team at this moment. After learning about the upcoming special program from Robin, Nami's beautiful eyes widened in shock. She stretched her long legs. Advertisement. He came straight to Chiu's side. Master Chiu, I'm just a weak girl, can I not participate? Nami coquettishly pulled Chiu's arm. Joke. She has already learned about the scene of that day in detail from Robin. This handsome guy in front of him beat the Marine Admiral Aokiji who abused them to death in just 1 minute. Afterwards, he punched through thousands of miles of ice. Good guy. If you accidentally get caught, my life has to be explained here. Master Chiu, hey. Facing Nami's coquettish and winking offensive, Chiu just smiled slightly. The expression on Nami's face froze. With his head drooping, he honestly returned to the ranks, hiding weakly behind Robin. Don't worry, Miss Nami, I will definitely protect you and Miss Robin. Sanji, whose eyes have turned into the shape of a heart, showed great hospitality. Zoro, you have to protect me too. Chopper said weakly. Don't be nervous, Chopper, you are already an outstanding man. Zoro reassured. Dad's buddy's test. I must perform well. You must not lose face to your father. Usopp donned Usopp's star cape with a clatter. Hey, so handsome, Sniper King. Straw Hat Luffy's eyes shine. So far, the fact that the Sniper King is Usopp has not been discovered. Wait a moment. Frankie, the Iron Man on the edge, suddenly made a sound. Say. Chiu nodded calmly. It doesn't matter what the long-nosed Sniper King says, but why should I be tested? I'm not a Straw Hat crew. Besides, the most important thing is that I don't want to fight a monster with a bounty of 3 billion. People will die. Iron Man Frankie howling, Lee how. Then came the strabismus from Luffy et al. Frankie, I thought we were partners already. The ship engineer on my ship is none other than you. Straw Hat Luffy said seriously. Hey, is that so? Frankie, who was recognized, scratched his head with embarrassment. Brother, come on, it doesn't matter if you lose. After all, the opponent is Mr. Chiu. But you must play with your own style. Fang sisters Wa and Zanbai and other strong men of the Frankie family shouted loudly and cheered for Frankie. Frankie, what you said makes sense. Then if you don't want to take the test, I won't force it. You can quit now. Chiu smiled. Ha ha ha. No, Mr. Chiu, I've changed my mind. For everyone who believed in me, I fought this one. Frankie said aggressively. Then, if you're ready, let's get started. Chiu grinned. Boom. A powerful momentum emerged like a tide, sweeping the audience in an instant. Advertisement Chapter 78 The gap in the sky that makes the Straw Hats desperate and powerless. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Boom. The powerful momentum is like the tide of the sea. Instantly swept the audience. Instantly, the originally noisy banquet hall was silent. Whether it's the 8-member Straw Hat group on the field or the Frankie family and Carrera boatmen on the sidelines. Everyone's expressions were terrified, and they were silent. This is not Conqueror's hockey. If Chiu releases his Conquerors at the Overlord level. In the field, I am afraid that less than one hand can stand in the end. At this moment, what bursts out from Chiu's body is only the pure hockey, possessed by the strong man standing at the top of the sea. This is 3.3 billion men. It's so strong. It's too strong. Just feeling this momentum, my hands and feet are already cold. This is the Emperor of the Sea. The people outside the stadium whispered in shock and horror. The 3 main players of Straw Hat crew are all ready to fight. As the timid trio, Nami, Chopper and Usopp are already on the verge of being scared to cry. Luffy, I'll go first. Zoro let out a loud cry. The big fast knife and Dao Yuan came out of the sheath first, biting them in their mouths. Immediately afterwards, Liang Kuaidao 3rd generation Gushan Duan Dao Shui Zhou shined one after another. 9 mountains and 8 seas, those who have no ego. Zoro sang fancy lines, while rotating the double knives in his hand. 3 swords style 3000 worlds. The dazzling cold light flickered under the moonlight. Zoro's most powerful move of the 3 swords burst. However, before Zoro's 3000 worlds burst, a black knife with a sheath suddenly came out of the sky. With just one blow, Zoro's 3000 worlds were cracked. Easily. The 857 doesn't carry an iota of pressure. On the other hand, Zoro, whose offensive was blocked, seemed to be under the pressure of the sky at this moment. He clenched his teeth, lips, hands and even the whole body trembled slightly. Now after confronting Chiu head-on, Zoro finally knew the weight of 3.3 billion. Looking at Chiu in front of him, Zoro felt as if he was facing an unreachable mountain. Obviously Chiu didn't do anything yet, just cracked his moves. But it still puts great pressure on Zoro. It almost took his breath away. This is a feeling that I never had when facing Hawkeye as my opponent. His confrontation with Hawkeye, in the final analysis, it is only limited to kendo. But now, it is an all-round duel of mind, skill and body. What he faced was the real pyramid of the sea. There are still too many extra movements. Roar Noah. Looking at the stiff Zoro, Chiu just smiled and commented. Zoro took a deep breath, retreated without hesitation, and opened the distance. Rubber rubber, jet bazooka. Following Zoro, Captain Straw Hat Luffy. While sprinting forward fiercely, his hands were stretched back violently. Some moment, Straw Hat Luffy slammed his feet to the ground. One foot smashed the ground. At the same time, the hands stretched to the limit hit Chiu not far away with tremendous force. Facing the onslaught of Straw Hats. Advertisement. Chiu neither dodges nor evades. Let Straw Hat Luffy's bazooka land on his bear. Only a dull crash was heard. The ground behind Chiu raised a cloud of smoke and dust, which drifted away with the wind. Then there is no more. Straw Hat Luffy's blow with all his strength could not even make Chiu take half a step back. Can't shake it at all. It's still far away, Chiu said calmly. How come? Chopper was sluggish. Luffy and Zoro's attacks don't work at all. Nami murmured. This is the man with a bounty of 3.3 billion. This is the strongest in the world. Frankie and others were amazed. Devil's feet. The finishing touch. While others were amazed, Sanji, one of the three main players of the Straw Hats, was not idle. Follow the Straw Hat Luffy and launch a tentative attack on Chiu. With the power of spinning and heating up, Sanji's right foot is like a red-hot iron pot. Swish. Sanji soars into the air. The strength of the whole body gathered in the right foot, and kicked Chiu's arm. In this regard, Chiu still did not dodge or dodge, allowing Sanji's attack to fall. When? There was a sound like a clash of gold and iron. Okay. It hurts. There was a cry of pain, but it was not Chiu who was attacked, but Sanji who launched the attack. Only a crisp click was heard. Sanji's full kick landed on Chiu's arm, not only failed to shake Chiu at all. On the contrary, it made his leg bones crack. Watching the fierce attack, Sanji suddenly hugged his right leg on the ground and hummed. Everyone on the sidelines of the battle couldn't help being stunned. What's going on? Didn't Sanji attack Chiu earlier? Obviously Sanji was the one attacking, you just stood passively and received the attack. In the end, it was Sanji who fell down instead. The people on the sidelines were all confused by Monk Jong-er. They had never seen this scene before. I'm afraid Mr. Chiu's physical strength is too strong. Even if you just stand still, the attacks of the Straw Hats and Sanji are completely unmovable. Even get hurt by their own reaction force. Carrera's shipwrights explain. As a result, the surprise on people's faces became even greater in an instant. CJDB. Sanji, are you okay? Chopper asked not without fear. No. It's okay. Sanji bared his teeth and stood up, enduring the pain. He limped back to the distance. Straw Hat crew, if you don't come over, then I'm going to move. Chiu smiled kindly. Step out. Only a loud bang was heard. The ground cracked. The huge banquet hall split in half under Chiu's feet. It's really ugly to sit and wait to die. I'm coming too. Frankie let out a loud cry. The wrist of the right hand is opened, revealing the muzzle of the gun below it. Da 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 da. Countless tongues of flame swallowed. At the same time, into second gear. Advertisement. Straw Hat Luffy regroups. The blood in his body suddenly accelerated. It's like boiling. A light red steam rose from his body surface. Rubber rubber. Machine guns. Straw Hat Luffy strikes again. The machine gun that defeated Rob Lucci, the most powerful CP9 player, reappeared. Form a flanking attack with Frankie's gunshot from left to right. If that's the case, I'll come too. Standing like this won't help. I must let Dad know that I am already a great sea warrior. Usopp took a deep breath. Firebird star. Bursting. Belides shot out one after another from Usopp's big slingshot like a phoenix on fire. Seemingly disorganized. In fact, each of them accurately locates various parts of Chiu's body. 3-sword style. 180 troubles. Zoro launches his own long-range sword attack. 30 rounds of flowers. Robin's hands intertwined. The flower fruit ability activates. White slender hands lock Chiu's joints. 5 different attacks, blocking all dodge routes. This is a lore blow that absolutely does not give the opponent a chance to dodge. It should have been like this. However, the means of the strongest who stand at the apex of the world have never been beyond their comprehension. It is different from the previous frontal resistance with a strong body. This time Chiu took the dodge route. Pai thinks that the perfect dodge is done in the non-spoon attack. Under the watchful eyes of the people on the sidelines. They only saw Chiu moving up and down, left and right, like a stroll in a courtyard. The action is extremely simple, without any bells and whistles. But it is such a small action, but it can be called a perfect dodge. The stormy onslaught of the Straw Hat crew was unable to touch Chiu in the slightest. Even his clothes Kakuzu is untouchable. This is absolute dodge. After a full minute, the offensive of the Straw Hat crew slowed down. Looking at Chiu, who was still unharmed and spotless in the field. Everyone couldn't help but feel a strong sense of powerlessness. The opponent in front of you is beyond class. It is really a foul-like superclass. This kind of gap like a natural moat cannot be overcome by numbers and momentum at all. This test, they really can't do it. Hoo. Is this the same move as those guys from CP9? Straw Hat Luffy gasps and thinks about fighting Rob Lucci. The opponent once dodged his machine gun with a 6-style paper arts. But there is no doubt about it. Chiu's previous dodge was far superior to Lucci's. No, little Straw Hat. This is observation hockey. Chiu explained with a smile. Knowledge color. Everyone was stunned. Don't wait for them to ask. Next second, Chiu made a fist with his right hand. The pitch black airflow spirals around. And it's hockey in armor color. Chiu hit the ground with a punch. Boom. The land of the banquet collapsed. Advertisement Chapter 79 The Straw Hats were defeated. Confession. Vigorous Robin. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Boom. The earth trembled under Chiu's fist. With the punch of the armed color, it fell. The huge swimming pool banquet hall collapsed, destroyed. A mess. The shock wave of terrifying power shines. Centered on Chiu, spread out toward the 4 directions. The straw hats in the arena were the first to bear the brunt. Hit by the impact that spread, flew upside down. Even people watching the battle from more than 100 meters away. At this moment, everyone is on their backs. Impossible. Master Chiu is really too powerful. How could we have won? Nami turned pale and shook her head repeatedly, almost crying. Alas, Nami, have you always wanted to beat that gentleman? It's amazing, I don't even dare to think about it. The cute little chopper, who transformed into a deer man and protected Nami and Robin, asked in surprise. This. Nami was taken aback. Think about what you said subconsciously before. I couldn't help but blush. Not very. Just when Nami was at a loss. Robin took her little hand. It's too soon to back down, Nami. Our captains haven't given up yet. Robin reassured. I know. In that case, I don't care. Nami unfastened the special weather stick weapon strapped to his waist. Hot and cold bubbles rise alternately, combine with each other and function. Finally, a pitch-black thundercloud formed out of nowhere in midair. Everyone, today is thunder and lightning weather, please pay attention to thunderstorms. Nami reminded loudly, heard the words. Zoro, Sanji, Frankie and the others all hurriedly exited the thundercloud range. Only Luffy, the captain of the Straw Hat, still persisted in pestering Chiu with the close-to-body technique. Thunder and lightning. Nami waved the weather stick. There was only a click. A bright thunderbolt descended from the thundercloud. Precisely enveloped Chiu and Straw Hat Luffy. Successful. Well done, Nami. Luffy is rubber, so don't worry. Everyone in the Straw Hats was surprised. The attack of thunder and lightning, even Mr. Chiu, must. Usopp stopped abruptly mid-sentence. A figure flew upside down from the bright thunder. That's Straw Hat Luffy. Immediately afterwards, the terrifying thunder separated independently. Reveal its figure. Nami's proud thunder attack still failed to cause the slightest damage to Chiu. What shocked everyone even more? Chiu didn't dodge Nami's lightning strike. It was the lightning strike that actively avoided Chiu. What is this scenario? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Advertisement. Already completely shocked by the picture he saw in front of him. Thunderbolt's attack is indeed very powerful, but unfortunately, girl Nami, I am not afraid of Thunderbolt by nature. Chiu smiled slightly. Raise your hand. There was a tiny ray of electric light dancing at his fingertips. Chiu pointed in the distance. A faint ray of electricity shot out. In an instant, it fell on Nami, who was still dumbfounded. Nami's delicate body was completely stiff under the action of the weak electric current. Nami. Chopper yelled anxiously. Don't be nervous, Chopper, Nami is fine. Robin hurriedly comforted him, looking at Nami with a strange expression. Robin couldn't help being absent-minded and speechless for a while. I didn't expect Chiu to have such an interest. In this case, she is also welcome. After confirming that Nami is fine, Straw Hat Crew's onslaught resumes. Even Chopper is in the form of a muscular deer, launching a fierce attack. To this, Chiu still dealt with them with a playful attitude. Show and teach them the power of hockey by the way. After a minute and a second passed, Straw Hat Crew has gradually formed a team cooperation from the original individual fighting, and has made remarkable progress. Some moment, walking around the periphery, the corners of the interfering Robin's mouth suddenly raised a subtle arc. Her slender hands crossed in front of her. Represents the launch of the flower fruit ability. However, no white slender hands were born. Because those slender hands grew out of nowhere that people could see. Feel the strangeness somewhere in the body. Chiu's calm smiling face changed suddenly. Armed color. Boom. The spread of the shock wave was more than twice as terrifying as before. In an instant, the 6 members of the Straw Hats were scattered and flew upside down. As for Robin, while flying upside down, I just felt a tingling pain in my palm. Don't wait for her to release her ability. Swish. A tall figure approached with a terrifying shadow. What a guts, Robin. Chiu smiled kindly. The crisp applause echoed under the sky. Sizzle sizzle. Robin's small face turned pale, gasping again and again. Somewhere behind it is already beautiful enough. At this moment, it swelled up to a degree visible to the naked eye. The severe pain brought tears to the corners of Robin's eyes. Sorry, Mr. Chiu. I dare not again. Seeing that Chiu's big hand was about to fall again, Robin quickly closed his eyes and begged for mercy. Apologize for my prank. Ah, Chiu stopped. Look around. Watch the humming straw hat crew. Look at the banquet hall that has been turned into ruins. Chiu slapped his forehead. Sorry, Ace Bagu, it's a little confiscated. Chiu arrived apologetically. No problem, no problem. This level of damage, we can repair it in no time. Advertisement. Mr. Chiu, please don't care. Ace Bagu spoke hastily. Yeah. Besides, we still take good care of the fine wine and food at the banquet. Ask for flowers. Carrera chimed in with the Frankies. Then that's the end of the sideshow. Let's start with the banquet. Chiu said. Everyone should drink happily. Chiu and the Straw Hat crew special ended with the Straw Hat Pirates' complete defeat. The joyous and noisy banquet resumed. The Straw Hat crew, who were supplemented with food and wine, quickly regained their spirits. Hey, Chiu, who is better, you or Zeke's? Straw Hat Luffy asked curiously. Ha, of course it's me. Chiu took it for granted. Hey, but isn't Shanks the captain? Straw Hat Luffy tilted his head. Idiot Luffy, who ruled that the deputy captain can't be better than the captain? Zoro said seriously. Forget it, if Shanks is weaker than Chiu, it means that if we lose to Chiu, we may not lose to Shanks. He. Straw Hat Luffy comforted himself with an optimistic face. He. Too lazy to pierce Straw Hat Luffy's fantasies. I thought it was after receiving my own beating. He will have a slightly longer memory and a sense of urgency. The result is still the same. But it's useless. It didn't have much to do with Chiu in the first place. He did all these things for Shanks' sake. After all, Shanks even gave himself his wife, didn't he? So something has to be done. Otherwise, this griffin would not be safe to hold. Thinking of this, Chiu couldn't help laughing and shaking his head. Instead, re-enter the celebratory atmosphere of the banquet. After midnight, the ruins of the dilapidated banquet hall were already scattered with people. Chiu, who was lonely and invincible on the road of wine, shook his head and got up straight. He came to a secluded viewing platform and looked up at the stars in the sky. At this time, Mr. Chiu, Robin greeted. What's wrong, Robin? Do you feel, Chiu smiled. No. Robin waved his hands in a panic. I just wanted to thank you once again for the Enies Lobby incident. No matter what Mr. Chiu wants, as long as I can give it, I will never hesitate. Robin looked seriously into Chiu's eyes. There is a moving brilliance in the beautiful eyes. The four eyes are facing each other. A long time. Robin was the first to lose, bowing his head shyly. In addition, I still have some questions to ask Mr. Chiu. Robin whispered. Just ask. Chiu beckoned Robin to sit down. Mr. Chiu, do you have a girlfriend? If not, would you mind having one? If there is one, it is not expensive. I can do it. Robin spoke seriously and sharply. Puff. Chiu just drank the wine in his mouth and sprayed it all into the sky. Eat. Advertisement Chapter 80 Robin's heart. Shanks to contact again. Luffy's excitement. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Cluck. Sorry, just a little joke. I know, Mr. Chiu, you have a very close relationship with that marine. Robin giggled happily. Her eyebrows are curved, and the corners of her mouth are raised. He fully showed his dark side. Certainly, the reason why Robin dared to do this. It is also based on the premise of knowing Chiu's temperament. For the powerhouse at the top of the pyramid to have such violent emotional fluctuations. Robin is also full of a sense of accomplishment and complacent. It's just that her complacency obviously couldn't last for too long. Next second, when she saw Chiu's raised slap gesticulating somewhere behind her. The smile on Robin's face froze immediately, his expression changed. The slender hand subconsciously covered the other half that was intact. I'm so sorry, it's because I'm too smug. Robin quickly bowed and apologized. Chiu lazily lay down on the recliner. Holding the wine bottle in one hand, he pointed to his thigh with the other. Robin understood immediately, hastily and diligently stepped forward to make amends. He started beating and pinching Chiu's legs. Just one hand is not enough. It even used flower fruit to bloom all over Chiu's body. Even Chiu has never experienced the pressing from dozens of white hands. 247. Couldn't help sighing secretly. Flower fruit is really a good thing. Mr. Chiu, what's up? Actually, I really don't understand something. Robin smiled slyly. Just ask. Chiu hummed comfortably. Mr. Chiu, why did you save me that day? Robin opened his beautiful eyes and looked at Chiu without blinking. I've said it long ago, entrusted by that idiot Shanks to take care of his younger generation. Chiu said casually. If that's the case, you should have gone to Luffy first. Because that Shanks asked you to take care of Luffy, I don't know Hanyu at all. Robin rode. You are all in the same group, it's not a good idea to take care of anyone. Just take it as luck that you just happened to meet me. Chiu replied. Then there's also the matter of Spandam, I probably don't know much about him. Then why? You can tell at a glance that that guy is a scum. I'm just punishing the scum. Chiu took it for granted. No, no, no. Robin shook his head abruptly. My feeling at that time, and yours, in short, it's not right. It was at the Enies Lobby that day. Chiu gave her a very special feeling. Just like Saul from 20 years ago. Injecting light into her deep darkness and despair. Miss Robin, what exactly are you trying to say? Chiu asked back. I do not know. Robin put his head in his hands, frowning in distress. Sorry, Mr. Chiu, for causing you trouble. Robin just turned around and trotted away. Ah, the recent little girls are really inexplicable. Speaking of which, it could be that I stayed in Red Hair Pirates for a long time, and was influenced by Shanks and became a straight man of steel. Chiu looked suspicious, and began to reflect on the previous conversation with Robin. There seems to be nothing wrong. But something seems wrong. Furthermore, Robin's questions are themselves very problematic. Why bother with this again? Keep asking why you saved her. Is this the answer to what you want to hear? What the hell was I talking about? In the secluded forest where there was no one, Robin's pretty face was flushed. Advertisement. She kept fanning her hands to dissipate the overloaded heat. What the hell am I expecting? Mr. Chiu is the top existence in this ocean. Besides, he has such an excellent marine. In contrast, I will only cause trouble for Mr. Chiu. Even if the confession is successful, I can't leave this team anymore. At that time, there will still be a dilemma. Robin sighed slightly. Constantly convince yourself in your heart. Suppress the little feelings that sprouted. Well, Mr. Chiu is a benefactor. I can't avenge my kindness, just continue to cause trouble for him. After picking up his mood, Robin returned to the banquet hall. Let go of yourself and have fun. In the end, for the first time in my life, I got very drunk. Refused Nami's support. Robin willfully asked Chiu to carry her back. Nothing to do. Chiu didn't refuse either. Mr. Chiu. Maybe you don't believe it, but I seem to really like you. Under the bright moonlight, Robin made a bold confession through alcohol. Her slender arms wrapped around Chiu's neck. A breakthrough. Paji left a mark of drooling red lips on Chiu's face. Cluck cluck. Robin giggled like a child. Then he tilted his head and fell completely drunk in Chiu's arms. A look of satisfaction and happiness. Chiu. The next day, dawn. Morning light, breaking through the deep darkness before dawn. The grand banquet at the swimming pool of Carrera No. 1 dock in the capital of water finally came to an end after a night of carnival. Everyone in the Straw Hat crew also returned to their huts. Ready for a new day full of energy. Except, of course, Robin. For the first time in his life, he let himself go, and Robin got drunk. At this moment, still immersed in the pain of hangover. It hurts, it hurts. Robin rubbed between his brows. My head is a little messy. She seemed to say something after getting drunk last night. But at this moment, I can't remember clearly. Just when Robin was about to remember. Nami's scream interrupted Robin's train of thought. What's wrong, Miss Nami? Sanji approached courteously in a circle. There is none left. There is none left. Nami repeated words like a demon. He even stuffed his little head into the safe, searching and watching inch by inch. My 100 million Baileys are gone. What exactly is going on? Nami wailed. Oh, that, Nami, have you forgotten? The money, Yoruichi was happy yesterday, all of it was used to celebrate. Straw Hat Luffy opened his mouth casually while holding his booger. The atmosphere in the cabin froze for a moment. Zoro and Chopper, who were by Luffy's side, moved away silently. Jingle bells. Straw Hat Luffy's rubber head turned into a pig's head when Nami's special punch hit the captain. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the boat is already there. Straw Hat Luffy said weakly. Woo woo woo. Even if we already have the boat, we still have to buy the furniture again. Nami wants to cry but has no tears. There is such a spendthrift and extravagant captain. As the financial administrator of the Straw Hats, she is really difficult. This moment, Nami just wanted to lie flat. By the way, it will be even better if you can have the refreshing feeling of being electrified last night. At this time, advertisement. The cabin door was pushed open. It's so refreshing to hear your voices here, little devils. Chiu said carelessly. Master Chiu. Nami's eyes lit up. With long legs, he stepped forward in 2 or 3 steps. She just wanted to experience the joy and feeling of last night again. Chiu is here. Hee. Girl Nami, what are you doing? Could it be that you want to borrow money? Chiu squinted at Nami. Is it okay? It's good to dare. Then I won't be polite. Nami rubbed her little hands together. The light in the eyes became brighter and brighter. It's okay to borrow money, but my interest rate is very high. Chiu's kind reminder. No problem, no problem. Nami readily agreed. After distributing the money borrowed from Chiu to Chopper and Sanji, and sending them out to buy necessities, Nami finally revealed his original purpose. Actually, when I heard Nami's request, both Chiu and Robin couldn't help but have weird expressions. I didn't expect Nami to have such a little habit. Or did he accidentally electrify this girl's mind last night? It shouldn't be. Robin, it's really embarrassing to say it. You'll know it when you try it. Nami swears by it. In the end, Chiu agreed to Nami's request. Draw a little current from the power line. Chiu pointed at Nami's belly. Oh no, that's the feeling, come here. Nami screamed coquettishly, and fell to the ground. thanks to Robin's sharp eyesight and quick hands. Hastily supported her with the flower fruit ability. That's why it didn't hit the ground with a bang. Only. It seems to be a little bit over this time. Chiu thought to himself. But look at that clarity. Should. Cough cough. Chiu 5.4 withdrew his gaze from Nami and turned to Robin. There is still a ray of electric light dancing at the fingertips. Robin, do you want to try? Chiu asked. I'd better get rid of it. Robin waved his hand quickly. Speaking of which, Mr. Chiu, I probably didn't say anything strange last night. Robin asked suddenly. There was a trace of tension on her pretty face. No, Chiu said calmly. Confession is certainly not a strange thing to say. Call. That's good, that's good. Robin patted his heart and took a long breath. The peaceful days of the Water City continue. The whole sea is not calm. The undercurrent is gradually surging. Except that the world government finally announced the Enies Lobby event and offered rewards to all members of the Straw Hat Pirates. There is another big event brewing and happening. And at night time, Chiu received a call. Luffy, there was news from Mr. Chiu earlier. He's in contact with the red-haired Shanks right now, asking if you want to come over and have a chat. Robin, who travels between Chiu and the Straw Hats, brought this news. Nani, Shanks. The exclamation fell. Straw Hat Luffy has disappeared. Advertisement.